Hello, you are listening to Ultra Q, episode 92. My name is Red. I am joined by Mel.
Again, we have to bash our hands with hammers to make your fists strong, or else the kaiju will rampage until Japan sinks, parenthetical, 1973, post-parenthetical.
Well, okay, boss. If you say so. That sounds pretty fucked up, but okay. Also joined by Brad.
Oh boy, I'm a Japanese schoolchild coming home after a hard day of elementary school. I sure do hope I don't see a fictional dad get severed in two walking home late at night.
It's normal stuff.
Yeah.
Normal stuff. Hey, you know, I think we went a little dark. I think we
did.
Got our answer to what the response to Taro.
What's the response? Coming up, apocalyptic special effects, multiple training montages.
I think this is the best special effects we've had in this.
It's been a
series.
while since we've had
good.
something like this. This is great. Also, the return of Ultra 7. Hallelujah. Before we get to any of that, if you're new here, we also just, we can't just talk about Ultraman every week or we would die.
Yeah, this is the first episode of the season, so we should introduce ourselves a little bit.
Yeah. We're gunning through Ultraman.
We're gunning through Ultraman. Yes.
We're going through Ultraman at a pace of 3 episodes a week, roughly, and we are, we've covered Ultra Q. We started with Shin Ultraman. We cheated.
Yeah, we're skipping the queue, even though that wasn't skipping the queue because it was episode 0 of the podcast. But,
it's messy. Anyway, we watched Ultra Q. We watched Ultraman. We've been watching in order from there, and we've also been, we've been keeping up with the new shows as well because they kind of did a reboot thing, and you don't actually have to know anything.
Blazer is not legacy based.
Our podcast is much like a sandwich of new and old.
Exactly.
And one day we'll reach the creamy center of the mid-2000s.
Ooh, I don't like that.
That post-9/11 creamy center.
Yeah. Get ready for whatever post-9/11 Ultraman is.
Oh my god. Oh Jesus Christ.
I don't even think I could give you an answer of what that looks like. I mean, I've seen some of the shows, but also I'm like...
I could see it not having an impact at all, actually.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
It could be exactly the same, but by way of being post-9/11, become more cursed.
Yeah.
I'm worried now.
This
idea had not occurred to me.
We will need to see how the rest of this show goes in terms of tapping into geopolitical situations.
Yeah. Also, we, for all we know, what we think of post 9/11 Ultraman potentially being would be colored differently once we've actually seen the 90s shows.
This is true. So, some quick housekeeping at the top. We mentioned this last week, but
yes.
Basically, we have, we're doing this in order, which means theoretically after this would be the Ultraman, which is the animated series.
The Star Ultraman.
Yeah.
1979, the anime series.
Have made the decision to not do that, to hold off on that, just because we're worried about the quality of the translation, which it's a shame.
Specifically, my friend slid me screenshots of the translation, and it was decisive in deciding that maybe we won't enjoy the show as much as it theoretically would if we were unable to comprehend what was happening on screen.
It turned to be around, and I think Red as well, where at the very least I looked at it and I was just like, I just don't know if I would want to watch a show that's in this state in general, because it's gonna rob my enjoyment of it. So
it was literally leading the other way before I showed those screenshots.
So that's how you know. Swung back hard. It was unfortunate because that is like an important show in the series, and also it is one we really, really want to watch.
Yeah, it's not often you get like, oh, we're going through this in order, and like load-bearing mainline 50-episode show is one we have to pass on.
Yeah, Ultraman is simply not the Ultraman translation situation is not necessarily in the state that other, like, big name Japanese properties are. Like,
yeah, it's the weird circumstance where it's like Toku is more niche than anime.
Oh yeah.
So the substation is necessarily good, especially because Ultraman is more niche than Kamen Rider or Sentai. But also, this is an anime for the Toku fans and not necessarily anime fans, which makes it even more niche by comparison.
Me running my hand through the air. Yeah, I have a podcast about Ultraman. Perhaps you've heard of it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So it's unfortunate we're not covering that. We're going. We're that means after Leo, we are doing. What are we doing?
80.
We're doing 80, and then we've got a couple of
have, like,
standalone things after that.
2 standalones in between. We only mentioned it for the first time like last week, but also they were penciled in like long before, obviously. Specifically, it was the first one after Leo is the movie The 6 Ultra Brothers versus the Monster Army, which is a Thai-Japanese co-production, and what's the word I use?
I don't know. Something about tourism.
Tacked on.
Tacked on. Yeah.
Yeah. We also have like a 2021 6-minute short film, Ultraman A New Power in Singapore, which is a collaboration with the Tourism Board of Singapore. Mm-hmm. And then the week after that is the manga, The Ultraman, not to be confused with the anime, The Ultraman.
Yep. Is that manga of the Ultraman, or is that just an Ultraman manga?
It's an Ultraman manga. I assume the title lent itself to, like, they tricked. I'm assuming that they called the anime that because the manga was popular, but I also.
Okay.
It's not related plot wise.
Okay, that's fine. To the anime. So yeah, that's the state of things at the minute. I think. Yes. I think that's
also tacked on to the manga, the Ultraman, also known as Battle of the Ultra Brothers. There's like a 5 to 8 minute animated vertical slice of it from 2015 called Ultraman versus Jackal. We'll also be watching, because like when else would we be watching that?
Okay.
I also mentioned
the
that last
shortest
week,
podcast in the world years from now.
Yeah. There's no other. It makes no sense to leave it to 2015 because it's just it's adapting the thing we were reading anyway that week. So
that is where we are at the minute. And
hopefully one day we'll be able to put in the Ultraman the anime somewhere.
Yeah.
But when and how they'll be, we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
It maybe it'd probably require a new translation. Not that one.
You don't want reanimated scenes.
Yeah, hopefully, like, the protagonist man doesn't like need to just swap out his helmet at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah, again, if you're new around here, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go watch like loads of Gundam first, and then come back, and you'll understand this podcast.
Also, Bang Dream is my go for some reason.
My go is important. My go, generally speaking, my go is important. That's all.
Not head sagely.
So, yeah. So that's where we're at the minute.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bandgirl anime, Bocce Season 2 announced.
Yeah. Directed by the protege of Tomino who worked on Victory Gundam.
I was a little worried about the director change, and then I found out that the new director is the episode director for the episode where they did her flying the 3D model gag.
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
Yeah,
okay.
It seems like
it's in good hands.
Actually digging into it, like a lot of the stuff people liked about the direction was already done by that person anyway, so it's like a logical choice.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, so the first portion of this podcast is always talking about shit that isn't Ultraman, because otherwise we would lose our minds. I'm gonna start this week because I've in my journey because I as a reminder, I had a DS when I was a kid, but I didn't have taste, or I wasn't buying many games, and so I didn't play any of the millions of really good games for the DS. So I've been going back and doing that with my buying really expensive cartridges on eBay. That's what I'm doing.
Yep.
and I've got my DS with like a bunch of games on it, like Ace Attorney. I played the first Ace Attorney. That was really good.
I need to give that another chance at some point.
That's like of the original DS games, that's the only one I haven't played, which is really funny.
That is really funny. It's you know, I can. There's like some gags that don't land. There's some like gag characters that don't land. I'm like, you know, I take or leave this. But like, I like the format. It's like, here's the thing. It's quite a long game, but it's little. In the sense that like, because it's all divided into like individual phases. Like, well, first of all, it's divided into like 5 chapters. And those chapters are further divided into chapters, and you get to the end of a chapter and it just pops up a little screen and says, oh, would you like to save your game? And I made it through the whole of the tutorial case and then the first proper case before I realized that I could save outside of that screen, because I was just like, you know, I was just playing until I got to the end of a chapter and saved and, you know, closed my DS and walked away. There's, you know, good like handheld gaming, bite size. You know, here's a little bit of game, and then you beat that, and then you're gonna save, and then you're gonna come back to it later. And you know, he's got, you know, adventure game like evidence gathering stuff, and then the trials are fun. I had a great time with I have complained about like interrogation systems on this podcast before because I played L.A. Noire for a little bit. And this is like much more, this is like, but you know, acknowledging that you're playing a game and not trying to create like this realism. You can just like scrolling through sentences, like individual sentences, individual parts of a testimony, and like figuring out which bit of this whole testimony has a problem with it. I just had a great time with that. I thought that Ace Attorney is I'm gonna play the rest of these games. I had a great time. One thing I will say, because obviously I played it on the DS, which means it has the bonus DS case, which is 3 million years long.
Damn.
I was dying. I was like, this has to end. This
is it at least
has
good?
to end. It's well, okay. It's mostly good.
It's fascinating to me because like that's, you know, because it's the new DS case. It's like the rest of the games that come after it can't acknowledge it because they're fully remaking the GBA games.
That's really funny. Yeah, I mean the thing with the DS case is it's like it's got a little too much. I would say by keeping things bite-sized, by keeping things curtailed within these limits, and you know, I you know, there are longer cases, and they work fine, but by trying to keep things like distributed across these separate segments of the game, they kind of minimize this is a technical term, adventure game bullshit, where you kind of have to try to figure out what the devs want you to do. Like, the solution, you know what's happened, and you're just trying to figure out how to prove to the game that you understand. The DS case is the worst for that. Absolutely the worst for that. I presented evidence on like a testimony, and it hit me with a fucking penalty. I then pressed on I did the hold it instead of the objection on that bit of testimony, and Phoenix Wright was like, excuse me, if you look at this evidence here, and presented the evidence I presented, and then that was the way forward. And I was like, you shut the fuck up, game. Fuck you. That kind of shit is happening a lot more in the DS case, and I think it's just because it's too big. It's so big. I don't know. Anyway, here's the thing. Here's the thing that happens every time you go into a thing where you cultural osmosis. All right, I know who Miles Edgeworth is.
Yeah.
I know who Phoenix Wright is. I know who Miles Edgeworth is. Yeah. Going into Ace Attorney, the question obviously is Miles Edgeworth actually that gay? Like, either it's been exaggerated. It can go one of two ways. Either this is completely invented. This is crack ship territory. This is like fans are just making shit up, or he's gonna be the gayest man in history. Miles Edgeworth is the gayest man in history. It was tremendous. His fucking when he revealed he has like a bunch of different. It's like somewhere in like case 2 or something. Like there's the second case. Where at the end of it, he comes to meet Phoenix, and he's like, he's got his imperious look on him, but then he has this frustrated sprite, which him looking aside and clutching his arm, and I was like, you're a fucking homosexual. I was like, you're out for Phoenix Wright. This is crazy. I was a big Edgeworth fan. Oh, this is another thing with the DS case. Extreme Edgeworth revisionism. Extreme, like, Miles Edgeworth never did anything wrong. Which I was like, no, he did. You can't take that back.
My vague recollection of game 2 and 3 is that there's a lot more of like a... He's in the background, but like there's a more of a redemptive arc towards Edgeworth.
Oh, yeah. Like, the redemption is the thing. That's great. The redemption you need something to redeem. He did bad things. He did. You got it. You gotta.
I'm just like thinking. I'm wondering if like because like the writers wrote the DS case after the first 3 games, and I wonder if they're like they didn't bother to like rewind their brain to post the first game. And was thinking of Edgeworth post game 3.
It's he's like going like, I would never forge evidence. And I was like, you did that 10 hours ago. Fuck you. So yeah, I just had a great time with Ace Attorney. I will be playing more of those. But next up, I'm thinking Odyssey.
Hell yeah! I say ooh like you did not tell us this.
Yeah, like I didn't recording. You got no. Let's try that again. This time you're not gonna break kayfabe. I'm thinking next I'm gonna play Etrian Odyssey.
Whoa! What? A blobber?
Yeah.
Is that an RPG that has Yggdrasil, also known as the World Tree?
Yes.
In
somehow.
Like the opening like 3 paragraphs of the game's introductory text, it's like it became the forest became known as the Forest of Yggdrasil, and now the game is starting. It's like the second thing you get told after you hit a new game. It's really funny.
Yeah. Before we get too far away, Phoenix Wright is a thing that I'm always like looking at from a distance. Like, damn, I should really give that a go again, because like I want to say. Maybe 9-10 years ago, I started playing that first game, and I got a few cases in, and I was just like, I just don't really think it's that funny. Like, it just wasn't landing for me that way. But I kind of want to give it a go again, because who knows, I might have just been not in the space for it, or like weird headphones or something.
I played those games in the way you do when you're like, I want to play this series people like, so I'm going to go to the local EB Games and see what they have.
Oh, I see.
And if there's the used games that are on the shelf, I guess that's what I'll get, which is why the first one I played is the third one.
Lol.
And then I played the second one. And at some point I played Apollo Justice and the Edgeworth investigation game.
Oh.
Which I like. But yeah, I'd like to revisit those games in like the proper release order, and also I want to play like, Great Ace Attorney, go revisit Edgeworth's Investigations now that the collection's out with the second game we never got. There's Capcom making the series.
All my Ace Attorney heads really fucking love Investigations too. I know that much.
All right. Well,
also I need to commit to actually finishing the game that I've been playing for like 2 years, AI the Somnia Files Nirvana Initiative.
Lol.
I played some of that last week.
I also I finished Ace Attorney in time for my rewatch of the episode of Haruhi where they're doing Ace Attorney poses, because it's all a crime. It's a crime thing. I believe there's in Conan, in Detective Conan, is there like the culprit that's like all in black?
Yes, I think season 4 is, which is I haven't watched Conan in a while. My life's been a hectic mess, but I think season 4, the one I got to, is when they start introducing that guy, and yeah,
yeah. There's like that guy showed up in the episode. I was like, oh, I know that guy now.
Yeah. they made a gag manga spin-off about him.
Oh, that's so good. Excellent. Anyway, that's my shit this week. I'm not bringing anything else.
You haven't started Wax and Wayne.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill Brandon first.
Because that was the name I was born with, so you know.
Okay. Oh, fair play.
Yeah. We split at some point, like Kingdom Hearts.
Stupid.
I can't believe one day we'll have to fight Draxpa.
True.
Alright, Mel, what you been up to?
Hi. Yeah, I got a few stuff. Let's pick away at it. First of all, get the important thing out of the way that we talked about at the end of last week's pod. I finished the Verhoeven sci-fi journey. I got fucking watched Total Recall 1990.
That movie owns.
Starring Arnold. Trying to play a normal guy, but he can't. Snarkiest fucking wage guy you'd like, you know?
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, Total Recall is about like a guy called Quaid. Who keeps having visions. He keeps he keeps having these memories of Mars. He's like, oh damn, Mars, I need to go there. And then he gets told about a company called Recall, who like, instead of like, oh, why go to the place when you could just have memories implanted of a vacation and you'd have your dream of vacation in your mind instead of actually experiencing it. But basically the same thing, right? Because it's in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like has memory triggers of him being like a secret agent from Mars who like, oh, they wiped my memory, but now I have to go lead the Martian Revolution, raise your flag, etc. Hijinks happen as it's like, oh, my whole life is actually a constructed lie, and I have to go get my ass to Mars to save it and free the people there. And also there's mutants, which I didn't know was a thing in this movie.
Wow, this sounds like a rip-off of the 2003 video game The Chaser. I'm sorry, The Chaser is a rip-off of Total Recall. That's the real title of the video game.
I got blindsided by the title. Yeah, as we all know, The Chaser is a British TV show.
The Chaser is a British TV show. I love that line. The lineup of all the chasers with the chasers.
They can stay away from me.
Ain't that the Hololive?
Boat Goes Binted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun. I'm wondering if this is my favorite of the Verhoeven ones.
It's good
because I think it's more of a plot oriented one, I think, than the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Which I think it helps it. Obviously, I think like there's like as we alluded to last week, much like Dolph Lundgren, maybe Arnold has some like limitations to his range. But to his credit, at the same time, when we get those like recorded sequences of his past self Hauser I think he's doing a pretty good job playing like a completely different guy to Quaid. Like really like cleaned up, like confident, suave spy guy as best like Arnie can deliver. And like when you get the reveal of like actually Hauser was a bad guy, he wants his body back because you know, remember White Quaid did his job of like rooting out the under resistance. It's pretty good, although I think it has like one of my favorite lines in the movie that's like understated, where like he's giving like the grand speech of like, oh well, sorry, I'm gonna have to take my body back, so it's bye bye and for now, Quaid, but hey, don't worry buddy, maybe I'll see you in my dreams. And then you have like the villain just kind of like staring at Quaid while the video keeps playing in the background, and you just hear like Hauser just saying you never know. And I'm like, I just really love the delivery of that line, because it's just like it feels like a non sequitur that like already improvised in the moment, and it just feels like it adds so much character. I really liked it. And you know, there's lots of I was gonna say there's also just a lot of really good fun one liners like consider this a divorce or screw you. Who's next? My mother.
It's been a while since I watched Total Recall, but I think my favorite bits are just like the bead of sweat going down the guy's head when the guy's trying to explain to Arnie, hey, this is actually all part of your holiday that you're taking. This is like this spy shit is all happening in your head. It's not real.
Yeah, because I think Verhoeven deliberately was like, I want to create the ambiguity that this could be a dream. So they have the guy come in the middle and to be like, hey, I am a programmed in part as like a defense mechanism to your dream. And you know, I do think the last line of the movie kind of just shoehorns it in a way that doesn't feel natural. Like, oh, what if Arnold just be like, damn, but what if this is a dream?
Yeah, don't they like kiss? And he's like, what if I'm dreaming? Yes. Or like something.
No, it's like, I think it's like I just had wow, it is just like a dream. Well, oh no, I had a bad thought. What if this is a dream? Well, I guess you better kiss me before you wake up, and then the movie ends.
Once, you know, obviously, once again, Verhoeven sci-fi movie, coolest special effects you've ever seen.
Yeah, apparently it's like one of the most expensive movies made at the time.
I bet.
It's good looking.
The vacuum shit is like grim. That's horror. That's gross as hell.
Oh yeah. Mars is a fun looking setting. I do think it is fun comparing this to the previous sci-fi movie I watched as an adaptation of Philip K. Dick's story, which is Blade Runner, because it's just like tonally like
wildly different.
Yeah, because Verhoeven just likes to be silly with it. In a way that like Ridley Scott, Kingdom of Heaven is funny
by accident,
not because Ridley Scott made it funny. I did see that production wise, the original guy they got for a scriptwriter did want to kind of make something more akin to what a Philip K. Dick style, closer to what Philip K. Dick's tonally, I guess you say, like kind of more blower and tone. But I'm curious what that kind of treatment would be.
Yeah, I mean, there's like I guess if you want to see a movie take the Total Recall concept seriously, I bet that's what the remake of Total Recall is. I bet it's not very good.
Oh my god, I fucking forgot that happened.
Yeah.
Who's in that movie? Go to Mars. Do they not?
No.
Oh damn! What's
the
point?
Up, it seemed like the thing, the way they did the setting is like the only two places on Earth you can live are the UK and Australia, and then there's like an elevator that goes through the middle of the Earth to get you there.
That sounds like hell. That sounds like the worst thing in the world. The only places you can live is the UK or Australia?
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston is a supporting character in Total Recall 2012.
That's funny.
Oh, Bryan Cranston from Macross Plus.
Yes.
Yep.
I think about that every fucking time.
his two most prominent roles, the guy from Backer Plus and Walter White.
It's Colin Farrell's the main guy in it. Okay, well.
Oh yeah, Kate
anyway.
Beckinsale's there, which is the closest my demisexual ever got to a celebrity crush back in the day.
Oh damn!
Those Underworld movies. So
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
This paints a vivid picture of younger Brad.
It honestly kind of does.
Yeah.
I need to catch up on that franchise, see what the fuck they're doing these days.
Are they still doing them?
They were a few years back. I remember at some point looking up Underworld shit, just like whatever happened with that, because I tapped out after movie like 3 or 4. And then I was like, oh, this went further than I thought it would.
Anyway, Total Recall.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, it's a cool movie. Definitely feels more different, I guess, because it's more of a real story, I guess you could say, compared to RoboCop and Starship Troopers. You don't get as much of the fun vignettes of like, oh, there's an advertisement here in the universe. I think there's like one on a subway.
Yeah, Starship Troopers especially is like plot barely. This is just vibes.
Yeah.
This is just like events happening.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what, Mel, you might be interested. I don't know if it's good, but I know there's like a Canadian Total Recall show.
Yes, we talked about it. I think we talked about it when we talked about Blade Runner.
Because it's more Blade Runner than it is Total Recall. Yeah.
I'll think about it. I have not forgot about it. It's just like in the back of my mind is like a thing. I'm like, I'm gonna think about this in my head. I did hear that Minority Report started out as a Total Recall sequel, so I feel like, well, maybe I should watch that at some point. Obviously not different director, but
I have not seen that movie.
I've heard it's pretty good. So I guess
it's Tom Cruise.
Yes, Tom Cruise.
Once again,
I should watch Mission Impossible.
Colin Farrell.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, I do think it's charming that like Arnold specifically was like, yeah, I kind of want to do a movie like this. Like he asked to be in this movie.
Aww.
He's just like, yeah, I like the story idea. I think I also saw like Verhoeven was specifically like try to like tailor the movie and like the tone to like account for the fact that A is starring Schwarzenegger. Like, okay, if Arnold's gonna be the protagonist, then we have to like make it a bit of a certain way.
That makes sense.
I think the other best one is when there's like the gunfight at the end, and he's like playing tricks on them with like the hologram version of him.
Oh, what is it? You think this is me? It is.
This is just so good.
Fucking worst best one-liner.
Great movie. Had a fantastic time. I'm glad I went through this journey, even if it was like kind of an accident, because it was like I saw Starship Troopers and then found out a RoboCop was the same guy, and then when watching RoboCop, found out Total Recall was also the same guy. So I was like, well, I guess I got
this podcast in general, but mostly because of your Verhoeven journey. But like, we're entering like late 90s, early 2000s. Like, my parents are taking us every weekend to go rent VHSs, like, territory, in like a way I find very endearing. Like, we did that weekly for years, you know.
Listen to our 22 Monic podcast last week.
Because like I keep trying to key it, but also like this is another movie. I don't think I've seen this since I was like 13, 14.
What else you been up to?
Yeah. So I have one thing I feel like I don't have as much to say about, and one thing that I will probably spend a bit more time on just because I haven't brought it up since the first time I brought it up.
We can speed through the quick thing.
Yeah. So I finished Neuromancer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a book that I read.
I have been seeing your posts. I think this is a fine reaction to
Neuromancer. This may not be a surprise if you listen to our Johnny and Monica podcast. Not podcast. What am I saying? Our Johnny and Monica podcast last week, where we also ranked stories of Burning Chrome. But I can enjoy. I definitely honestly. I'm enjoying Gibson, but I will say he challenges me in a way that his particular approach to writing,
Mm-hmm.
the density of the details can sometimes mean that the actual threads of the plot or what's happening can be lost to me. And maybe some of that's also I'm not as willing, just because of how I read, I'm not necessarily going to go back and reread a passage as much, which is on me a bit. But it is just
yeah.
I mostly, there's a bunch of things about the final act where I only really kind of have a sense of what happened because the people at Showa Ultraman told me it happened. It's definitely a vibe and it's cool stuff, and it is a thing I feel I probably should reread at some point down the road just to be well, I kind of vaguely know what happened. Maybe I'll be able to approach it differently. I'll still read the rest of this Raw trilogy along with the podcast, but maybe
I read the first page of that bad boy.
Lol.
Nice.
I'm so bad at reading.
But yeah, it's got this guy who's got name case, gets told to do a job, and they go jacking in. There's an AI involved.
They got a crew.
Yeah. There's, weird ethnic writing with the fucking Rastafarian guys.
Yes. They call Molly Million Step-in Razor. I remember that.
Yeah, it is funny having the anecdote of Gibson with respect to Ice-T after, reading him do various forms of patois and Neuromancer.
We've cast Ice-T in this role. William Gibson tugs collar. Yeah, I'll just let him do the dialogue. I'm not gonna touch that. I'm just,
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. It's fine.
I will say, I intellectually understand Snow Crash better now. Where I'm oh yeah, I see exactly.
Is that worth it?
Well, no, because I'm not going to respect or enjoy Snow Crash. I'm just I understand where it comes from, but the book's still terrible.
So do you just mean broader what Snow Crash comes out of, or is Snow Crash a response to Neuromancer? I guess is what I'm asking.
It's a response to cyberpunk generally. People describe it as a satirical take on the genre because of how codified it was, and I think it's
damn, what if it was good?
Yeah, if the genre is mostly I
fucking hate Snow
Crash. People read Neuromancer and then copied it almost exactly the same Gibson style, then I can see how Snow Crash being a parody of it has all those same things in it, including the weird race stuff, and other weird things. Yeah, I at least say despite my challenges with it, I'd say I can probably say Neuromancer is good. I just I need to give it another shot to appreciate it.
I mean, it's possible that you give it another shot and you still don't like it. It might just not really be your thing. It happens.
Yeah.
That's the multiple things that a lot of people I really love that I just bounce off of.
I have many times in my life played Super Metroid 1. I can appreciate this. I just don't care. We all got those things.
Yeah.
Confession.
You did not care for The Godfather?
The Big O.
Oh. I get that. I like Big O. I don't love it.
Yeah, that's me. I enjoyed my time with it. I don't really have much to say about it.
I don't think about it that often.
I mostly like the first season 1. It's more of a,
you
it's
know,
more,
I really
Big O Season 1 feels more of a noir Ultraman show.
A look into my aesthetic taste is when the sky clears in the Big O and you see the stage lights, I'm like, hell yeah, this is sick. When the digital space opens up, I'm like, nah, I'm checked out. I'm gone. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think that show...
they both mean the same thing, but one of them I'm like, yeah, that's cool, and the other one I'm like, really?
That show, I think, gets buffed immensely because of, well, I guess childhood memories in general, but also, like, I grew up on that Batman animated series vibe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That helped a lot.
I'm gonna tell you, I bet this is not the first time we're gonna be talking with the Big O on this podcast.
Oh.
For reasons.
For reasons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what this entails.
I'm curious.
Don't worry, we'll get to it in a few years, maybe.
So, your other thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah. the thing I was rushing to finish.
Okay.
Or should I say racing to finish in my car to finish before the podcast finished. This is
your
the
next thing.
This is the second update since the first episode of Bakuge Sentai Boonboomger, which ended last week.
Car Sentai.
Yeah, Car Sentai. So right off the bat, I'm just gonna say good. Not as like high highs as the past few years, which feel like really weird or like going bananas kind of shows. This felt like a more traditional one. Ironically, kind of reminds me of like Kira Major as like the last show before Zenkaiger, which is another traditional one and also vehicle themed.
Okay.
And yeah, this one I don't have as much to say about it. Like I don't think about the plot itself. I like the guys. Just running through the guys, you got like remember these these goofy ass names. Taya Hando as Boon Red, who's like I guess like guy who's like, I need to become rich to help people more, and he's like basically a millionaire boy guy with like his personal garage and setup. And then you have Ishiro Meta, who's also called by nickname of people on the team Chashiro, who is like a former spy turned into Taya's chauffeur / boyfriend. And he's like the guy who goes behind the scenes, being an info broker guy, gets like the deets. Episode 1 was all about recruiting Boon Pink, Amira Shifto, from like her wedding that she didn't want to get to, and which they do some nice echoes of in the final arc, which I think is fun in a way to inspect. And then because this is like later in the show, they end up having 2 more additions to the team. Boon Black, there's Joe Akase, who is a Japanese kid show. He's the nice friendly cop who's a bumbling silly guy.
Yeah. We love those guys.
Yeah. Very funny. They do some fun things with them in the final arc. And then finally you have Boon Orange, who's Genbo Breiki, who's like he starts off as the procurement guy, like that's his thing. I can get stuff for you. And then you find out in like halfway through the show in one of the arcs that he's secretly a Catboy alien.
Is he animated like a little freak like that Don Brothers guy?
No, he's just like he do some makeup on him in a way.
Damn.
But his family was a merchant family, which is how he gets his like procurement stuff. And specifically his real name is Genbard de Livery II.
Okay.
It's fucking stupid.
Okay.
And they're all kind of assisted by Boondorio, who's like Taya's the friend he makes from space, a former driver in like the Great Space Grand Prix, and so their goal is to one day race in the Grand Prix again. But for the meantime, they set up the Boonboomgers to deal with like the evil space mafia gang, the Hashilians, and like they have a bunch of recurring 3 goons who like recur through the shows, who are like the lovable Team Rocket guys, and then the actual serious bad guys who are like the villains of particular arcs. Not that one. And then you have, eventually you have the Sixth Ranger, who's like Sakito, who's like a former guy from Earth who went to space, who becomes friends with Bune Diesel, who's like Boondorio's former rival. And then they like enter the show as like, oh, we're cleaners, we do like the odd job guys, and the villains hired us to take care of you. And eventually they get turned into good guys, and they proceed to just like basically be hobos who like just show up sometimes for battle and aren't actually that important to the plot.
Okay.
It's really hard to talk about the show because it feels like it's definitely more of an episodic vibes show, and like there's arcs, but it's also like they do fun things like for this arc, the third core, the villain of the arc is the Hashilian who like destroyed Genba's homeworld, and so he goes rogue for that arc, and so the part of the arc is like bring him back in the fold instead of him going like on his revenge quest stuff. And they do fun things like that. The show really hits the gas for like the last core, where it suddenly becomes this is like a weirdly serialized plot where. So I forgot to mention, there's also like a sort of like a handler they have called Shirabe, who's like this person from the ISA, who's basically like the Ultra Guard, like CIA for space. And she's basically there for the handler because obviously space shit is involved, but she's like becomes an ally to them until she has a crush on Boondorio. I need to show you who Boondorio looks like. Actually, he's a fun looking guy.
Okay. I await a fun looking guy.
He's kind of like the base of the giant mecha form too. So like he turns big and they attach the cars to it. He's like they pilot him.
Okay, this is like a proper robot.
Yeah.
I haven't. Yeah. Okay.
Actually, here's the full guy.
I do see all the wheels.
Yeah. Here's like here's the full guys for reference. Sakito in his like his Boon Violet form looks like a
faces.
This is like skibbity toilet coated. I'm sorry. Look at those fucking faces.
Yeah, the tire faces.
Yeah.
I think like a.
Wait, hold on. One of these looks like the fucking what are they called from Turn A? The thing Harry pilots. The sumos.
Oh yeah, the sumo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's blue one.
That's Bune Diesel. He's the sumo looking visor guy. I think Sakito's got like the fucking F1 outfit. Also important upgrade they get, like their final form upgrade is called Champion Form, I think. And what it is they just get these sick ass jackets. They just put them on.
They just get fucking okay.
Yeah. It's great.
This is pretty sick.
I think I saw.
I like the inner blue pops a lot. I like it.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, they just put them on and they start kicking ass, and it's great. I think it adds a lot to the very basic looking suit. Otherwise,
yeah.
So it adds a lot of dimension to their suits in the final battle.
Racing aesthetics are just so fucking cool.
Yeah, like I think the aesthetic, tires on the face, very goofy, obviously, but like otherwise, very very cool aesthetics with the racing stuff. I think. There's an episode where, like Boone Black, he's like out of commission, so he just like tosses Boone Violet the jacket to put on. It's great.
Nice.
And the
reason this show is good is that Duke would approve.
Yeah, exactly. Basically the core theme is like following your dreams. You gotta keep the hand on the wheel, and don't let anyone else steer for you.
Okay, what if you're a passenger in a car?
Well, you gotta get your own car.
You gotta. It's one car per person.
Yeah.
This is the society that Sentai promotes. Buses out. Right out.
Yeah. But yeah, the final arc is basically like there's like a sort of a conspiracy where like the higher up of the ISA, and also the super tech billionaire guy whose tie is like a benefactor who I remember bringing up on this podcast because his name is Naito Raida.
That's good.
Yeah, he they sort of like do a conspiracy where they like there's a betrayal by one of the Boonboomgers, and now like the government's making a deal with Hashilians, and the Boonboomgers are the outlaws. And how do we deal with this conspiracy and overthrow it? And it goes. It's fun. Like obviously, it's nothing amazing because Toon. When I say Toon, it's a kids show, Toku show, and they do commentary like, "Whoa, how could the people are just lapping up. The truth doesn't matter these days." There's a fun moment where like eventually, because the cops are obviously bought in on this. Boon Black is like, well, I guess if it means justice, I'll quit being a cop because I don't need to be a cop to be just.
Let's go.
And he doesn't. To his credit, he doesn't even join the force again at the end of the show. He just like he's chilling. It's good. I'll just put this in. I was like, oh, you know what? Obviously, not revolutionary, but when the baseline is obviously cops are friendly and good and you're friends in like Japanese kids media, then I'm like, yeah, I'll take it. From when the protagonist is a cop, like compared to Kamen Rider Drive, where the heroes are the police force. It's refreshing. And yeah, it's fun. For whatever reason, once again, they do the thing where in the final arc, the movie becomes relevant, so I had to go track down the movie and watch it. Less to say about this one, because it's, it's extremely, wow, the movies really are glorified episodes, because they're only 30 minutes, but,
Oh, okay. The movies are only 30 minutes?
That ain't a movie.
That ain't a movie.
Listen, it's got...
That's
it's got some higher productions, and it's put in theaters so that the kids go and watch the half-hour Sentai movie, and then immediately after the hour-long real Kamen Rider movie plays.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, you cannot get my ass to drive down to a theater to watch something that's 30 minutes long.
It's the Toei double feature thing. Like,
yeah.
The main show is the Rider
who's the 8-year-old Sentai elitist who gets up the moment the half hour is over and walks out and goes, "I've seen all I need to see."
Throws his popcorn.
I ain't sitting my ass down.
Have fun with your baby shit.
I ain't sitting my ass down for Gotcha, you can.
Oh,
Goo Goo Gaga. It's chocolate themed. Get out of here.
Oh no. No, I'm saying Gav is peak. I have to catch up.
You're gonna fight this fictional 8-year-old.
Yeah. Listen, you don't understand, kid. They're doing the themes to bring back the classic writer tropes about questioning humanity. Doesn't care that he looks like a candy bar.
Mel, how many booms do you give this show?
The boom doom doesn't stop until it does. First of all, did I ever show you like how they transform? That's like another cool thing.
No.
They press the button, they go boom, press it again, boom boom, then they go boom boom boom. And then this is like there's a thing that's also in a previous show that I am watching. I mean, I've made much progress and I'm only halfway through it, and I spent the past like year and a half picking away. I need to get back to it, but they have wheels on the bottom of their transformation thing, and they roll it on stuff to activate the transformation, and it's cool. There's one where because Blue and Red are boyfriends, they do like a team transformation like this. It's good.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Love it. I guess I'd give it 3 boons out of 4. Still good. Still enjoyable time. Still fun to watch week to week. It's, you're getting the Sentai promise. It's just, Dawn Brothers and King Oger were swinging, and this is back to basics in like a big way. And also, Zenkaiger isn't like out there, but still felt like, fresh and fun and good. And it's still, it's still like, yeah, we're doing Sentai. Like, obviously, there's some crazy stuff. Like, there's more like they're doing some arc stuff. But it's less. It doesn't feel as ambitious. But that's fine. Next season looks like it's gonna be fucking bonkers though.
Okay.
It's like they're doing the 50th anniversary. They changed the anniversary a bit because like Zenkaiger was like, this is the 45th team, and now they're like, well, this is gonna be the 50th year. Because they also want to like offset the Sentai anniversary years from the Kamen Rider ones, because otherwise they're the exact same time.
Oh my god, that makes sense.
Because how you had Forze as the 40th year anniversary, the same year as Gokaiger, which is the 35th anniversary, according to the counting anniversaries. Obviously, they're finagling the numbers. So the current show that just started, I haven't seen that yet. So it started yesterday for clarification as of time recording. So subs might not even be out yet. Is a number 1 Sentai right. Gozuger, bringing back like a legacy writer stuff, like already Sentai stuff, it seems. And also the writer is, let me look up, make sure I want to get her name right, because I feel like this is one of the things where it's like want to give credit to someone as like a person, which I'll give comp. That sentence doesn't make any sense, but hold on. Yeah. The writer is, for the new Sentai that's starting, is Akiko Inoue, the daughter of a certain Toshiki Inoue.
Oh, nepotism!
Yeah. I hear...
Listen, Inoue nepotism is, has done nothing but wonders for Sentai.
Yeah. She... I think this is her first show that she's writing on her own, but she's like was written a lot of episodes for stuff, and I think she was one of the main writers on Gotchard, and I think people like her episodes of Gotchard.
Excellent.
Let me just see what other credits she got. But yeah, I'm curious to see, because like I don't know her writing style per se. She's like the third generation of writers from this family, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because I haven't seen like Showa Rider, I can't really comment on like how Inoue's the first write stuff compared to like Inoue the second, who is a guy but is also insane. And I'm curious to see what her voice is and like how unique it is. Because I'm not expecting her to be like the same as her dad, but I'm sure it'll be fun in its own ways. And the premise of the new show looks bonkers, and so I'm looking forward to it. All right. I think it's like all about like the 5 Rangers are like rivals in the way they're all like, well, I'm the best Sentai, actually, it's me. And so we'll see how that goes.
They'll have to learn teamwork.
Can't be done.
No, can't
not in
be
this
done.
franchise.
No.
5 people working together? Nah, get out of here.
5 people with like weirdly themed designs that are separated by color coding. Surely they can never cooperate as if by design.
No. Never.
But that's me. I'm glad I can finish another Sentai. Hopefully Sentai Segway will be back sooner rather than later. It's been since I skipped all of 2024 as far as I think I can do Mega Ranger because that was like a group watch I did with a friend, but like I think I mostly skipped 2024 as far as the Segway was concerned, which is not my intent, but
it happens. Shit happens.
I finished Jetman in like July of 2023. We're doing 7 then, and like this I've not finished the show I started after Jetman, so.
Well,
it's a lot of show.
Yeah,
it's a lot of show. Brad,
Yeah.
you been up to anything?
I feel like there's, like, a lot of random things the past few weeks that, like, I've been touching or, like, dabbling with that, like, I've just forgotten because we covered Johnny Mnemonic, and then, like, I kind of forgot and didn't write anything down. But the two things that do come to mind, I did fucking, like, watch Be Invoked finally, and I guess A Contact, but, you know.
Oh, shit.
So, you know.
And I guess A Contact.
Yeah. So wrapped up the Ideon third watch.
Rewatch?
Yeah.
Third? Okay.
Yeah, this is my third time through.
Damn.
And, yeah, still maybe my favorite TV show ever. So, I like I said, there's so much of Be Invoked that is incredible that I just forget isn't in that show. Including the amazing sunk cost fallacy scenes you get. They're not exactly back to back, but they're in pretty close. Like, they're in close enough contact that, like, you know that there's supposed to be, like, kind of like a dialogue going on here, where both Cosmo and also what's his name, Buff Clan guy are like.
Yeah, the Buff Clan. I can't remember his name, but he's such a cool bad guy. He only turns up in the fucking movie.
Yeah. And they're both. They both know they're fucked. But they have this sunk cost fallacy thing of, well, we've come this far already. We might as well just see it through to the end. And then they keep fighting. It's so good. The deaths in that movie are so raw. And, like, not in... So many people will talk about the deaths in Ideon Be Invoked. I don't want to say too much in case there are people out here that would like to watch it. And I do recommend... I would say maybe watch Gundam first, just because I do think it is a little more approachable.
Normal?
Yes. And
one
also,
of those became a franchise, and the other did.
Yes. But also, too, I will say that I think this is maybe the closest I've watched original Gundam. Well, okay, to be fair, it's the movies, because, you know, they had the theatrical run, so I watched the first and the third in theaters, and I watched the second one just because, like, it's weird to watch two of them and not the third. But coming away from watching those movies just a few months back to watching Ideon again has definitely made me appreciate Ideon as Tomino taking that same, okay, let's get everyone in one vessel as, like, a weird family that doesn't exactly get along great. But then let's try to give everyone their own space and perspective and really double down on that, compared to, say, Gundam, you have, like, the main crew. And I mean, let's be fair, in Ideon you also have the main crew. But the thing that Ideon always makes me feel that I talked about the first time I talked about it, but it's like the camera is afraid to stay with any one person in Ideon for more than, like, 3 minutes. It's constantly changing.
I was in disbelief for, like, the first third of Ideon that Cosmo was apparently the protagonist.
Yes.
Yeah, like he gets top billing because he is the pilot, quote unquote, of the Ideon, but the show doesn't treat him as, like, the protagonist until, like, maybe Be Invoked ?
No.
Yeah, there's like some, like, he kind of takes over as, like, a driving force in the show from Bess after, like, the big scream moment. But that's, like, it's not, you know, it's not like main character, it's not like protagonist status.
Yeah,
I guess he does have Kitty as his, like, it's like an important thing puffing up. But
he is, like, this fun in between of what I'd say is, like, Gundam adult and Gundam boy turned into gun that kills the enemies and is traumatized about it, where he has baggage and he has shit, but he's also kind of in that in between where he's also, like, a valued voice on the ship, and people will ask him his opinions on shit. They're not always going to take him seriously because he is kind of like a bratty kid, but he's in a weird, frustrating in between of, like, almost an adult, but not exactly taken seriously, and he also is, like, a wisecracking, like, he can be a prick at times, and he doesn't always get along with people, and he can be dry in that way, and that also comes from a place of, I would say, maybe a little bit more, like, lived experience than I feel like is normally allotted to Tomino mecha pilot boys. He feels just a little bit aged or older in that way than, say, like, a Camille or an Amuro or something. But then also too, he gets the scenes where he's just like, man, I fucking miss my mom. Like it's really good. I love the balance they find with him. Historically, I would say that Kerala was probably my favorite Ideon character. I think that's finally changed. I don't know why it didn't before, but this third watch, holy fuck, Cheryl is just the best character.
Cheryl rules.
She's so good. Like, I've always liked her and her scenes and what she brings to the show, but just something about watching it this third time is just, I love how many problems she causes for everyone else. It's so good. Also, wow, that Kitty Kitten might be the worst. Like,
no, she's the best.
Yeah, sure. I just remember there being more there.
Jordan Best, like, okay, we got some Buff Clan problems. How are we gonna deal with them? Kitty Kitten. No, I'm not thinking of Kitty Kitten. Sorry. Continue. Never mind. I was thinking of the evil girl. I was thinking of what's her name?
Harlu?
What was that? Sorry.
Harlu, right? Something like that. The sister, not Kerala's sister.
Cause the other pilot of the Ideon.
Oh, fucking. Oh God, why am I Kasha?
Right. Yes.
Kasha's great.
Yeah, Jordan Best, like, how are we going to deal with the Buff Clan? Kasha puts up her hand. Jordan Best, we're not going to kill them all. Kasha puts down her hand.
Yeah, Kasha's amazing. Oh my God. What a...
Anyway, yes, Kitty Kitten, yes.
There is a point...
Incidental.
It took me back this time, because I just definitely remember them having more of a... thing, and then there's just a scene where Cosmo's like, oh yeah, my girlfriend, and I'm like, did she agree to that? It's so weird. It's so fast, and yeah, I think that
Cosmo,
one doesn't
I
work
consent.
so much.
Kasha, I consent. Brad, I don't.
No, not Kasha, Kitty Kitten.
Well, Kasha too by the end.
Oh yeah, Kasha does. Yeah, you are right. Kasha does. It's like, oh yeah, Cosmo's girlfriend.
It is fun that they redo that gag with a kiss in a new translation.
It's like, oh, it's such a good bit.
With the helmets. Yeah.
Yeah. The one of the best, I would genuinely say one of the best directed bits from Tomino is that scene where Cosmo and Kasha like go in for a kiss, and it's just like, no, their helmets get in the way, and they're just like, let's not. And like, this is everything about this genre distilled into one human moment with no robots in sight, and I adore it greatly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what I was gonna say about the deaths. I feel like people talk about this movie for how fucked up and dark it is, right? Like, it's kind of the Berserk thing, where people don't really give the emotional side of the movie the service it deserves for how bleak it gets, but also just there is this sense of human beings cannot help but just put their hand on the stove and leave it there until nothing is left
like Johnny Mnemonic.
crisp. Yeah.
The thing I get mad about mecha fans is they don't understand that Turn A has a sad ending and Ideon has a happy ending.
Yes. True. I won't say too much, but the relief at the end of this movie is like, I think I've cried every time I've watched the final sequence of Be Invoked. Spoiler alert, guy named Be Invoked on everything has deep emotional reaction to movie, but it's so genuinely beautiful. It's just like, it's everyone, even people that weren't in this continuity. They're all having a great time. Yeah, it's lovely. I don't know how much more I have to say other than the animation quality is also just phenomenal. And yeah, mecha fans just, I don't think they deserve this movie. I did, out of curiosity, I was like, let's see what I can find in terms of Ideon discussion online, because I was just curious. You know, it's been a minute. Like, Ideon, I feel like, is that thing everyone always references, because they're like, well, actually, before Evangelion, there was this other thing, and I'm like, I don't need that. It's a good show on its own.
I'm doing that, but good.
Yeah, true. I mean, honestly, kind of same, but, sometimes you just want some taken on its own, and what people do when they take it on its own is they create watch-along Reddit threads where they complain, actually in the last episode, the Ideon's leg got torn up, and they didn't show them repairing it. How are they getting all these parts? And I'm like, I hate all of you. It's like, is it really that realistic that they could shoot these many missiles and that, like, they haven't docked in episodes? How are they getting all these missiles?
Damn, commenter, it's gonna be really realistic when your leg doesn't heal when I break. Your comments.
True. It's okay, we'll defeat the kaiju and they'll get better. The kaiju is me. But yeah, I love being invoked. I have began watching with a friend Zabungle and Brain Powered, and we're going through it slowly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brain Powered.
These are both rewatches for me, but she wanted to watch them because they're on her mecha list, and I was like,
yeah,
hell yeah. So,
I need to watch both at some point.
Zabungle,
I wish it was better.
Yeah,
It does feel like Elgheim is the one that's more important for me to watch.
It's also the one I have not seen.
Elgheim's pretty sick. Midway through that.
Yeah, Brain Power is one I'm really curious about.
I love Brain Power. Brain Powered is a show that I like a lot. I don't know. It's good. I don't know if it's great. It feels like him testing the waters to be like, okay, I kind of want to make... Like, it feels like him trying to figure out what he wants to do at that point in his life and career, maybe.
Yeah, like, to me, the thing that makes it so fascinating is, like, it's the show between Victory and Turn A.
And it feels a little bit like a testbed for Turn A ideas, which I do think is cool, but again, kind of like the Evangelion Ideon thing, I don't want to reduce it to that either.
Yeah, like, I want to take it on its own terms, but also, like, its context makes it more compelling to me.
Yeah, for sure. And also, too, just, like, visually and, like, audio and, like, visuals and all that stuff, too, like, it is absolutely so much of that same team that, like, it feels like Turn A sometimes, too. It's great. A little more fantasy-brained. I love it. Yeah, it's interesting because it also feels like something where Tomo's like, okay, I want to write about mecha shit with some remove from, like, the psychic connection stuff a little bit. Like, it feels like him kind of rehabilitating the new type stuff and be like, what can I do outside of that box that I've kind of either been put into or put myself in, sort of thing.
Tomino, lying. I have never seen Gundam X.
let me just check. I want to, like, know year-wise. Brain Power.
I think it's like 96,
it's 98, 7? Right? Oh,
yeah, 98, yeah.
98, so I guess the year after... No, or the same year as Gundam X. I don't know. Gundam...
I don't think Gundam X is 98.
No, I think it's 90... Okay, it's 96. Okay, so... Okay. Yeah, so Gundam X...
I was born during Victory, that's all I know.
Yeah, so Gundam X...
Okay, hang on.
Gundam X is 96.
Born during...
So Gundam X is 96, Brain Power is 98, and then Turn A is 99.
I was born during Gundam Wing.
Hold on, when was I born? I think
hang on, that might mean I was born during. Let me hang on.
Hold on.
Hang on.
What a derail.
No.
I was also born from
Macro 7 ends a month earlier, like a couple of months earlier.
I was also born in Victory Gundam.
Oh damn! I was born 4 days before the V2 showed up. That's crazy.
I'm the youth.
Wait, hold on. When on?
I'm the young'un.
Yeah.
Victory. Sorry for the audience that we're just being vain like this about bullshit.
I should be brattier on this podcast.
You already are.
I should be brattier.
Shut up.
I was also gonna say that.
I'm already succeeding.
Okay, so I was born 2 days after Angel Halo activates.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So episode 2 days after episode 47. So like right at end game, turn A, not turn A, victory.
All right. What were we talking about?
We were talking about how Be Invoked is an amazing movie and everyone should watch Ideon, but they should do it after watching Mobile Suit Gundam. I recommend the TV series. That's the way to do it. Watch it in the afternoon when you got nothing else going on, like 1 to 3 episodes at a time.
Yeah.
Make yourself a beverage. I need to continue
what kind of beverage?
It's not whatever they fuck with.
Is Gundam a coffee or a tea?
Ooh, I don't like coffee, so it must be a tea.
I see.
I can't believe you're taking UP's side of this.
I might like coffee.
There we go.
You know that thing about how sometimes when people are too similar, they fucking hate each other.
Oh no, you're similar to
Yeah, that might be it. I see too much of myself in the dark reflection. We are getting the psychology. Oh no, I forgot we established that bit, then I made this bit.
It has begun. It has begun.
For people new to the show, look up UP Ultraman arc.
Yeah,
and,
listen to our Ultraman arc coverage as well.
And just know I fucking hate that thing.
For no reason.
For no good reason. It started with discomfort. And
Honestly,
I liked the hasty addition of good.
What
else you've been up? Been up to? We'll get over it.
Me looking at my fucking collection of UP hater images, going, "I've come too far now. I know where this ends, but I need to keep going." As in the Cosmos with you plays in the background. The other thing is I've been extremely arcade game brained as I got the Nova Blast arcade thing all set up and ready to go.
Yeah.
You put a laptop in the cabinet.
I put a laptop in the cabinet. I have also contacted their support team 3 times because it came with a broken wooden shelf, and also my screen has like a row of like 3 or 4 dead pixels right at the bottom. That like is honestly not the worst, but it is broken, and I did pay an exorbitant amount of money for this thing. So I'm like, I don't mind it a great deal, but I do want replacement parts.
For that much money, you should mind it a little.
Yes, exactly. Like I paid for this what I paid for this. I think that I should have a screen that has no dead pixels on it, frankly. So I emailed them twice, and then I didn't get a response. So then I, one day randomly was just on their Facebook page, because it seems like for some fucking reason, everything they're updating is going on their Facebook page, not their website, which is wonderful. Including a lot of like tech support shit or just like general information that I really feel like they should just have on their website, specifically the product page, but whatever. And I saw that literally I don't know if either of you are still using Facebook, but like, they
no.
like, yeah, that's fair. But like, I was on their profile and I saw a new post come out, and the time literally just like where it says like when it was posted just said now, and I went, okay, so I can message these fuckers and they have no excuse for not answering me. So I messaged them and I was like, hey, I sent 2 emails about broken parts that came shipped with my thing, and I was just wondering when I could expect like a response to that. And then I got something back about how their email system has been overloaded, and instead of attaching image files, they want me to make a Google Drive folder and then send them the link to it via email explaining the situation again. And I went, okay, cool, I get it. Sometimes like whatever thing they're using for emails like messes up. I get it. They're probably getting a lot of emails. Sure. I sent them that. Still haven't gotten a response. So
this is a good sign.
Yep. So I'm a little pissed off. I'm gonna probably bother them again either today or tomorrow. I think 5 days in between each of these is a good amount of time to be like, hey, I feel like you should have responded to this by now. You know, as someone who, you know, has been on the opposite end of the situation, working jobs like this. So yeah, we'll see how this goes, but I'm hoping they're not a pain in the ass. So here's my actual genuine concern with this thing. There's a lot of people who I've seen online complain about broken, like, screen bezels, like the actual, like, thing around the screen or whatever, which is just like a hard, like, black plastic piece or whatever that, like, sometimes the protector that came with it didn't do a good enough job protecting it, and it came, like, scratched or banged up or whatever. Mine came fine. It's the actual screen, which I should also say, they just sell, I believe it's the same screen, they sell separately on their website as, like, a $290, like, LCD screen thing, and I'm assuming is one of the more expensive parts of the product. So I'm hoping they're not trying to ignore me until I go away because they don't want to.
They just want you to buy the screen,
or they, yeah, like something, or they just, like, they don't want to have to give away one of those, but also, like, it fucking came broken. I have pictures. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping it's not a massive pain in the ass. Also, I'm gonna be honest, like, I understand, but if they want me to unscrew this fucking screen and then send it to them so they can send me a replacement, I'm gonna be kind of annoyed, but we'll see. We will see. But yeah, beyond that, I have just been playing a bunch of arcade games. I haven't set up, I forget the name of it now. I think it's Big Box. There's, like, all those emulator front ends, but there's one that's, like, a paid-for thing that seems to be...
Defeated Box.
Yes. It seems to be highly recommended, specifically for, like, arcade setups, just because it's very controller, like, friendly, and like, you can do a bunch of stuff without having to, like, dick around with keyboard and mouse. It's called Big Box. So I think I'm going to order yet another USB hard drive, put on all the, like, arcade emulation stuff I want on it, and then set that up. But for now, what I've just been doing is I've just been playing all of the arcade and fighting games I have on Steam in Steam Big Picture mode, which has actually been working pretty well. There's some weirdness to it a little bit. Sometimes I have to unplug the Player 2 controls because it'll swap around. Like, if I have both plugged in to start a game, sometimes the Player 2 side will be read as Player 1, and sometimes the Player 1 side will be read as Player 2. It seems to be completely random. What I've settled on for now is I'll just keep Player 1's USB port plugged in, and then, you know, that'll automatically register it as Player 1, and then if I want to play with someone else, I'll, you know, plug the second one in when I need to. But for now, it'll just be Player 1 side. It's been weird. So it's an HD screen in this thing, like technically 1920 by 1080, but it's also, like, squished, like, 4:3 aspect ratio, right? So when you're playing modern ports of games that are assuming you're playing on a typical widescreen HD screen, it'll give you the borders on the side, but what that actually does is it just makes everything squished by default. And my experience has been, most games are fine, but every now and again you'll run into a PC game. They tend to be, I feel like, the older ones that don't have great resolution options, or even just options to, like, stretch to fit or do stuff like take away the borders on some of these re-releases, because that's what you end up having to do, is you need to find, like, a good HD 4:3 resolution and then do stretch to fit, but what you're actually stretching it to is you're stretching it to the right resolution. It's so weird, and it requires some fiddling, but games look really good. I have been taking lunch breaks more than ever at work now, just because, like, I'll do that and then I'll play, like, an arcade run of, like, Third Strike or something, and it's a good time. Every day, part of my morning routine now after I shower and get set up for work is I just open up Steam and I go, like, what attract mode do I want running in the background of my day?
This is another recommendation. Remember to check Steam in the morning after your shower.
Yes, this is the best way to enjoy the Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R attract mode. Actually, my favorite I want to say is Ray Crisis, the shmup that takes place in cyberspace. Really fucking good vibes-based attract mode. Highly recommend. This is the most I've ever thought about attract modes for arcade games ever. And I will actually say, something I've really appreciated about having this thing is I'm just thinking about arcade games in like a completely different way than I would from, say, like emulating or playing a modern collection of like a bunch of games where it's like, oh yeah, like these games are designed to be loud and obnoxious and to have a presence in physical space in a way that modern video games do not need to do, because that's how they fucking make money and justify being made in the first place.
Yeah, because you got to compete with the other cabinets, which are also loud and obnoxious.
Yes, it's been interesting. I made a list of a bunch of arcade games, and I want to watch 100 movies this year. I also like it'd be fun if I did like let's do 100 arcade game clears. They're short enough that I don't actually think it'd be that bad. I've already done like 6 of them, just some old like Guilty Gear and Street Fighter and stuff. But I want to get shmup brained. At some point, I think I am going to do the thing where I unscrew everything and then remount the screen so I can get it in the Tate mode. And do some vertical shmup goodness. But I just don't feel like doing that right now. So for now, I've just been mostly sticking to fighting games and might do some beat 'em ups in near time. But yeah, really been enjoying it. I hope the support process isn't a pain in the ass. Now that we're an hour and 30 minutes in, should we talk about Ultraman?
Let's talk about Ultraman.
Mm-hmm.
We did. Who could say? Who could
can
say
you
how
say
long this
when
is?
you
It's
edit?
going to be like an hour and 15. Welcome to Ultraman Leo. Leo?
Yeah.
Leo.
mean,
I think I'm fully Leo brained at this point because that's how they say it in the
Leo.
show.
I did have you going Leo stuck in my head all week.
It's just, it's good.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
So, what explain to us
Yeah.
the backstory, perhaps, of Ultraman Leo? Because, this one seems important for some reasons.
Yeah, like the fact that they aren't going to make another one of these for like 5... Well, not going to make another Ultraman show for like 5 years, but like the next one's the anime, so they're not making another
Presumably it's because Leo ran so smoothly that they were like, God, we feel so good, we're just going to take a break.
Yeah.
Just because we don't,
We
we're
deserve
gonna call
it.
it there. We deserve it. We did such a good job making this show. No one
See, Super
got
Riot are
overworked.
ethical capitalists. They're like, listen, we made enough money. We don't need to make more.
Exactly. I bet that's what happened.
Anyway, let's begin the backstory to Ultraman Leo.
Okay.
This is as you, I'm sure you know if you've been following along, but if you haven't, if this is your first time, welcome. This is the 4th season of Ultraman in a row since 1971. We start with the Return of Ultraman, into Ace, into Taro, and now finally into Leo. If you go back to our Return of Ultraman production history, things were a certain way back then. For starters, Kamen Rider aired the day after Return of Ultraman aired,
Toku changed.
Yeah, so as you imagine, a lot of things have changed in the years between Return of Ultraman and Leo. Return of Ultraman helped bring in the second Kaiju boom, also known as the Henshin boom, because, once again, Kamen Rider's out. And so we're getting a lot more of, like, the human-sized heroes. But also, that boom is now fading, because manga and anime are on the rise, and that's bringing a lot of, like, specifically a lot of the older demographics are being more drawn towards anime, while Toku is becoming more, the kids are what's left over. And even within Toku Space, obviously, you mentioned lots of competition. Kamen Rider, among other Toei properties, other companies are doing their own shows. Like, it's a boom. People are going to be following the leader, cashing in that cow. Even so, Taro's did pretty good. Taro was a success and relatively smooth production, all things considered, especially considering the previous two shows. Which means that a new show was obviously greenlit. Because hey, let's keep this gravy train going. Production began around October of 1973. I don't know exactly what's the Taro episodes. I wrote this before Johnny Mnemonic. We watched it, so
we don't need to be too exact necessarily.
Yeah. I'm just looking because for my own curiosity. That's around when they have the obviously the episodes come out well after they're made, but in terms of when Taro was airing, that was around the Revisiting Monsters series of episodes. So production ran around, that fall 1973, and concluded in January 74 with Ken Kumagai and Akira Tsuburaya. That's his AG's third son in the producer role.
Oh my god, the nepotism continues.
Well, yeah, it's Tsuburaya Productions. It's the family business. Just know that in the current era, it is no longer the family business. just so we're we'll eventually find out when that happens, but I don't know when. Joining these two, in making the original pitch for the new show, we got Shigemitsu Taguchi, Yoji Hashimoto, our TPS producer, and I guess some guy called Kunio Kumagai, who I think is nepotism again, probably checking again. I have no info on this guy. But so for this new pitch, they want a new approach. Taro may have been a success, but the staff felt they hit the limits of what kind of stories you could tell with the formula.
Yeah, amen.
And I felt that was very funny reading that sentence after what you said. And they also felt like they wanted to expand more on just they're building lore. They're really getting into that stuff. They want to tell more stories with that. And
before watching Leo, oh god, I hope they don't go all in on lore. I was wrong. I was wrong.
They love that. They love that. They want to tell more. They want to see what else they could do with the Ultra Brothers and the Land of Light beyond what the limitations of the Taro formula did. They also thought about Taro in the broader context in terms of a trend towards friendly and personable heroes, and the staff felt they wanted to reintroduce a sense of distance and mysticism to avoid heroes being simply escapism. We don't want the kids to just be oh man, the hero's my best friend. They want to add the mystery again, which is definitely a bigger element of pre-Return Ultraman. I mean, including Return, but the Ultraman's a weird guy. They also have the image of Kotaro leaving at the end of the show, unprecedented, also helped plant the seed of a lone wandering hero who carved his own path. And it's let's do something with that kind of vibes. And lastly, the crew wanted to make a story about the hero overcoming the harshness of the world around him and the conflicts faced by and between people. They want a story where the history's victory wouldn't necessarily be guaranteed, but they had to have doubts, trials, tribulations, and even losses. First proposal was Ultraman L, because they right now, if you notice the logo for Ace and Taro, they really like that single letter gimmick. Would not be carrying over into Leo, but that's where they started. Obviously, I'm using wikis and also the Ultraman wiki, Wikipedia, Japanese, etc. The booklet in the steelbook. Some of this may be weird translation stuff, depending on what it is, but the original premise was a guy called Leo Atori is fighting kaiju on Bird Island or whatever, and he encounters the captain of Jack, which is not the not the term they use for the main show. I was wondering what the J stands for. The captain of Jack, Tetsutaro Kawakami, and the captain becomes a coach and mentor to Atori. They kind of like
Jack's a good name. They should keep that around for something.
Yeah.
Shame it'll never be used again. They're kind of more thinking of like a sports training oriented approach, and it reinforces the inclusion of the Ultra Sports Club. They also want Kawakami to be married, and they're include his daughter Kaori as a character. They were kind of like the show is going to be focused predominantly on Leo and Kawakami's relationship, with the other Dimension members playing more of a supporting role rather than being like guys per se. So the focus is just like this is a show about these two like protagonists and antagonists more than anything. They also proposed of introducing Leo's home planet, M77, as a planet besieged by constant alien attacks, and where Leo's father remained to stay behind to defend, though they eventually dropped that part of the proposal because they thought it'd be a little too much to the backstory. Even though I feel like in modern day, that's kind of just like, yeah, that's normal, having like that much stuff, but it's a different time. They even felt like, we're going to reduce the timing of the color timer so as to focus on more time on the human drama and storytelling.
I was so confused. Okay, that is a ridiculous, because they got the 2 minutes and 40 on the color timer, and I was like, why? This is such a weird number. And then to know that it's they reduced the color timer number to increase the amount of human drama in the episode. Motherfuckers, you weren't sticking to the number.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
As if they were crafting every action sequence around, like, yes, the color timer's time.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing. That's not the whole story. It turns out there may be another reason that Super Eye may want to put more focus on the drama and perhaps less on the action and special effects. Because as it was happening right from the jump, Leo would be faced with a serious production side snag that'd be difficult for the staff to overcome. And unfortunately for them, this is something well outside Super Eye or TBS's control. However, in order to explain it in full detail, I need to go back.
What's going on?
Yeah, we're going back.
The year is 1920, and the Treaty of Severus has been signed. With its centuries of Ottoman rule over West Asia have come to an end, the Arab peoples have been transitioned to various newly formed colonial possessions and client kingdoms by the British and French imperial powers. Rule of the region will be of critical importance as the coming decades will see the transition from coal as the dominant fuel source to petroleum. Fast forward a few decades and past the Second World War, of which petroleum played no noticeable part, this led to the unraveling of European colonial empires as a wave of decolonization that swept the world. West Asia was no exception, with colonial administrations and client monarchies being overturned by secular left-wing Republican forces in Egypt, Syria, Iraq, and Libya. These states and their anti-imperialist outlook tend to align with the Soviet Union, and thus are all at odds with the Western-aligned Gulf monarchies such as Saudi Arabia and the UAE. This period has been dubbed the Arab Cold War. However, one thing they all agree on is that none of them liked that one of the imperialist client states was a recently established settler colony in Palestine by the British that had clear expansionist and genocidal ambitions toward the Arab people, both within its border and its neighboring states, with whom it fought many wars of which, there were many wars by the year 1973. In fact, you better add one more to the pile, because in that year of 1973, Egypt and Syria would launch the Yom Kippur War to reclaim the territory in the Sinai Peninsula and Golan Heights, which had been occupied for the past half-decade. The actual outcome of this war is not important to the story, but what's important is that all of the aid given by the US and other Western powers, including Japan, to this ally during the war, angered the Arab states as well as the global South generally. As so happens, in its era of internationalism and cooperation between members of the quote-unquote Third World, many of the oil-exporting states had sought a means of representing themselves on the oil stage and throwing their weight around as a political power glove. The answer to this was the formation in 1960 of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, aka OPEC. In retaliation for their role in the war, OPEC member states agreed to do embargo of the US and various allies who supported arms and aid, including Japan, thus initiating the 1973 oil crisis.
Oh, did we not talk about an oil thing or another impacting Ace or Taro? Am I making this up? Did they also run into a thing like that?
So because of the oil crisis, the prices surged in Japan by the end of 1973, which had impact on the kind of effects they'd used in the latter stretch of Taro. With the wiki mentioning pyrotechnics specifically.
Okay.
This is also meant for budgetary reasons. A shift away from special effects was desired, which meant a doubling down on the drama side of the show.
Okay. That's... you know what this means? No more fucking fire breath. We're done with kaiju breathing fire. That's over.
I'm getting my
Thank God.
I'm getting my other elemental powers not because of creativity reasons, but you know,
because
material conditions.
Yes.
Because of the oil crisis.
This is great. I would have it no other way.
It's important context. It also means they need to take a different approach to fights, one based more on action. As would happen, at the same time this was all happening, there was a kung fu boom being trailblazed by Bruce Lee and his movie Enter the Dragon.
Okay, so I haven't imagined how much wilder the fights were in Leo.
Yeah.
So Tsuburaya could kill two birds with one stone by shifting them to more acrobatics and martial arts focused in fight scenes. This would also cut down on costs on effects as well. So that out of the way.
Hell yeah.
And the second pitch was made, with the show now properly titled Leo, a few changes to the first draft. At this point, it is alleged by Taguchi that they had already predicted the show would not do as well in the ratings compared to Taro.
They were like, we're cooking too hard with this one.
I who knows what marketing people think, but they also think that, like, maybe the show could, maybe, who knows how Taguchi they meant for this to stick versus, like, this is just a possibility in their mind, and then, like, other conditions force their hands to make it real. It's treated like maybe they should treat it as a phase conclusion to the Ultra series. Like, they're kind of like, maybe this might be the last one.
Okay, so they've already kind of got that idea. Okay.
Yeah, like there are probably things that, like, made it, like, there are probably other things going on behind the scenes that because from what I understand, there's still more trouble production ahead. There are probably things that kind of, like, made it like a certainty, but this may have been, I think there was clear, like, the writing may have been on the wall to some degree already. Just because of the economic circumstances.
I'd be curious too, and like this is one of those things that, unless we were there at the time, but I also wonder maybe if there was, because this is, you know, the second kaiju boom / the transformation boom, and I wonder how much of that was just like a general vibe of maybe that it was starting to run its course a little bit. Yeah, because we're a few years into that at this point, and booms will never last. You know, they'll always fade away at some point.
You can interact, stop the boom boom. Two important casting decisions were then made. First, our protagonist, Ryo Manatsu, who I think also sings the OP, was cast as the protagonist. He had a black belt in both Shorinju Kinpo and Kendo, so, you know, he's a bit of a martial arts guy.
Okay.
I don't know, like, if he's like, I know Kendo's obviously like with a sword, so I don't know if Kinpo is like barehanded, but, you know. Martial arts guy.
One I am not familiar with.
Second, and this would be a big change for the show. The position of Kawakami, the captain, was given to Koichi Moritsugu, who we all know and love as in his previous role as Dan Moroboshi from Ultra 7.
Get the name Kawakami out of here.
And
this is Moroboshi Dan.
Tsuburaya. Based on precedent, you know, we've seen this with Hiroko Sakurai going from Ultra Q to Ultraman, and then again we got Arashi to Furuhashi in Ultra 7. They're like, yeah, that's fine. They have no problem recasting an actor in a new unrelated role. However, unlike Fuji and unlike Furuhashi, there's like, okay, but I was Ultra 7 though. Mortsuke was like, he's like, yeah, listen, I was Dan, and kids will know me as Dan. And so it might be weird if I'm just like here as a different guy. So maybe I should just be Dan, you know.
It would be like if they got a new James Bond and then Daniel Craig was in the new James Bond.
Yeah.
It is funny that, like, in comparison, Toei just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because they did just cast the same actor 2 Sentai seasons in a row in the 80s.
Lol.
And then he also became the lead for Shape Surf Gone. So, but yeah, basically he was like, you know, people will think it's weird if I'm not there as Ultra 7, given the precedent. You know, Dan shows up as Ultra 7 in Taro. So,
I was thinking the only way I think I could be any more positive on this as like a premise, like in casting decision, is if it was June. And that dude's busy making like big ass, like big budget movies, so there's no way that would have happened. Also, nowhere near as popular, probably, but
Yeah.
I would have laughed.
Yeah. So eventually, Super I agreed to the change, and this is basically they altered the first episode to sort of like create the situation where this makes sense for them. Like, why is Dan here in a mentor role? Why is he not Ultra 7? We'll get to that. As for some more stylistic and tonal influences, there are a bunch of I think there was a bit of a boom of disaster movies. I already mentioned in the opening bit. Toho put out Japan Sinks.
The more we do this podcast, the more that movie feels like an extremely like vital like turning point in like Japanese like cinema. I'm like I feel remiss having not watched it yet.
it is on our Toho watch list.
Yeah.
Though also, like, we could always like do categories on like individual movies on the list if we wanted to. If we feel like it, obviously. No promises. But also, there's also, I think around the same time, Toho also put out I forget if we talked about this movie before. I feel like we have. The Prophecy of Nostradamus. I remember that one being like a controversial one.
I feel like we talked about that. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Both those movies came around the same time, so there's like just kind of a bit of a disaster movie boom. Leo's personal arc was also inspired by like manga series such as Tezuka's Came with a White Lion, Star of the Giants, and of course, Ashita no Joe.
Oh, yeah.
And they also want to experiment with like more serialized storytelling to tell more of the stories they wanted to, with more like multi-part sagas and ongoing character arcs. They also recognize, well, we should include some, characters who are point of children, who are point of view characters, get our Ichiros and Kenichis in, just because, well, obviously children are going to be watching this. And that's where we get into the Umeda siblings, which I'll get to later. They also, two conflicting descriptions for why Taro was given an extra episode, because it was extended from 52 to 53, and one was that the production issues Leo's were having meant they need extra time, and the other was that they want to avoid competing with other Toku shows that were going to premiere in the same month, so give Leo like room by delaying it a bit. But regardless, Leo launched in April 74 with the tagline that I forgot to cut down, so don't worry about it. My bad. Also, the 50th anniversary of Leo was last year. The first episode had high ratings of 20%, but this quickly fell off. The reason is, despite their ambitions, we ran into the snag where the writers still could not ultimately escape the fact that their primary audience was tiny, tiny children.
Womp womp.
And Taro owed its success to being the kid-friendly key jangling series. The staff would need to address this at some point during the show's run, but what would they do? ? We will see, because I'm gonna get to that when we get to those episodes. Because I didn't want to. I already spoiled myself on something near the end of the show, and I'm like, I don't want to spoil myself more.
I'm like mixed on how much production stuff you do, just on account of the fact you keep spoiling shows for yourself.
I feel like this context is important, but also I do wish I do sometimes need to know, like, where is the right time to stop scrolling on this page?
Yeah. No, I've run into that. I think I talked about it a while back. I knew some shit about like Ace going in just from reading about that dude. Yeah. It was like how involved is he and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm the only person going in blind.
Yeah.
Some of this is just like an L I take, because I'm the person who's like a seasoned fan. I will say, like, a mutual mind has been like watching listening to our Ace coverage. It was like, it's crazy to me that people will go into Ace blind, because that sounds so mean, and I'm like, well, it is probably better for our coverage that I knew going into the Ace about the stuff with Ace, so I could have like covered it properly. But also, it is what it is. Certainly made me interested to see what happens next Leo in Leo.
It's all good. I had Ace pegged from the jump. Yeah. We're good.
Also, I will add that apparently the OP they went with those. They made this OP kind of at the last minute because they had another one in the pipeline that wasn't ready yet.
Okay.
So we'll eventually get the second one. Anyway, so let's go to contemporaries. What else is on TV in the theaters at this time? Subaraya. Subaraya has sort of like a deal going with a Thai production company. We already mentioned that in this year we'll get the Six Ultra Brothers as the Monster Army, but also as part of the same deal, there's a movie tie-in for Jump Arc Ace called Jump Arc Ace and Giant. They also put out a thing called Mirror Fight, which is Ultra Fight and Mirror Man. And they also put the 26th episode Army of the Apes from the people who watched Planet of the Apes.
Oh, is that the one with all the cool fucking images of like the monkey people with Tommy guns and shit? And then they did a terrible machine translation.
Yeah, someone made a bad machine translation last year.
Ah, tragic.
Yeah. As for Toei, less consequential, Inazuma Man has a second season in Inazuma Man Flash. And then the big boys, you got the third Kamen Rider show, Kamen Rider X, which, from our understanding, didn't do so hot. There's only 35 episodes. So as a result of that, within the same year, we also get the fourth Kamen Rider show, Kamen Rider Amazon, only 24 episodes. Amazon, this time, they made it deliberately short because they wanted to do a network kind of airing shakeup. Time slap shovel. So, in next year, 1975, Kamen Rider Stronger would actually be on TBS, the Ultraman Network. It aired like the week after Leo ends, but like Kamen Rider is a Saturday show as opposed to a Friday show at this point, so it's not like it taking over the time slot, but it does feel like a funny handing over the torch away, where like, oh, Stronger is here.
I know nothing about Kamen Rider Stronger other than the guy from Kabuto watching clips of it in a movie theater. And going, oh, Kamen Rider Stronger, I'm Kamen Rider Strongest.
But importantly, instead of like Stronger coming after Amazon in its time slot in the 1975, it'd be replaced by a little show called Heimitsu Sentai Go Ranger. Wonder what that could be.
Yeah.
And it
probably won't last.
Yeah. And it seems like Rider would remain on TBS until Kugo brought back to TV Asahi, where it remained to this day. On the Toho side, we got Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, which is the 14th movie. Once again, Prophecies of Nostradamus came out, and there's another Toho movie called ESPY, ESPY, I don't know what's going on there. On TV, they've followed up the film adaptation of Japan Things with a live-action TV series.
Japan can only sink for so long, people.
They're gonna try a lot this show, apparently. Then we also have Go Kotaro Ushikawa, which seems to be the successor to Godman and Green Man, but instead of kaiju battles, it's more folklore and historical focused. The sequel to Red Baron Super Robot, Mach Baron, is out this year. On the anime side, we got Great Mazinger, sequel to Mazinger Z, but also Toei's putting out Get a Robo. Toei. Get a Robo is also airing this year, and also by Toei, Magico Megu-chan, which is another really important Magical Girl show. Also really important, Space Battleship Yamato also airs this year.
Yeah, my takeaway from this roundup is I feel like the monster boom is maybe giving away for people who are like, what if we did other shit?
Yeah.
Like a lot of new stuff kind of finding its footing in TV and movies at the time.
Also, Chargeman Ken, a show I've heard is really good. Going Across the Sea. In Hollywood, the big movies this year are Blazing Saddles and The Godfather Part 2. We still got Star Trek animated series on air. It seems on right side of the pond, we're mostly still in the Third Doctor era, but by the end of the year, we'll be into Fourth Doctor. So Fourth Doctor kind of coming up toward the end of Leo's run. In the USSR, we got a kids sci-fi movie called Moscow Cassiopeia about a bunch of kids who are just sent to space for life as part of a lifelong mission. And in sci-fi literature, we got Le Guin's The Dispossessed is out this year. Also important strictly because of the title, unfortunately for the guy who wrote this story, The Blade Runner by Alan Norse. the movie that they got the rights to specifically so they could use the name while adapting a completely different story. By Philip K. Dick, who incidentally this same year put out a story called The Pre-Persons, a satirical anti-abortion story in a response to Roe v. Wade that he claims he got death threats from feminists over.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you for that.
Jesus Christ.
Cheers, man. Normal shit.
Now for Leo's design. Designed by
yeah,
a good
it's
friend.
weird. What's up with that head?
Yeah, we got this design.
Stupid looking.
Designed by Yoshio Suzuki. Let's see by Kai Productions. Goal was to make Leo stand out compared to other Ultras with a more complex human face. It includes,
It stands out. It looks dumb.
It includes a nose and a hairdo. The first draft design with some assistance by Ken Kumagai, who, if you remember, was also a kaiju guy in Return to Ultraman. Had more silver lines on his body compared to Seven and Taro. Check him out. That was the original design. They later refined it by removing the silver lines and gave him instead the pure red design with like a little fancy logo on his chest, which is the podcast art this season.
I did notice this during. It does feel like he's Pooh Bearing it a little bit because of the lack of silver on the body. I could not stop thinking that.
So you subscribe to the Silver is Clothes series.
He's kind of got the Ultra 7 attitude.
They're Spartan exercising.
It's true.
As discussed in the previous episode we did, one of the prototypes design was repurposed into Alien Valky for the Altaro finale. The original suit actor was Kazunori Kawaguchi, but Super Eye Productions is unsatisfied with his performance. And so halfway through filming episode 1, the suit actor was changed to Tatsumi Nikamoto, who was originally going to be the guest suit actor for the episode, because he was playing Ultra 7 at the start of episode 1. So they had to refit the suit. However, they didn't refit the mask, and piece holes were misaligned with Nikamoto's face, which meant, according to Nikamoto, he spent the entire show basically being able to only see through one eye. He also says the suit was not elastic enough, so it was in the leather padding made it difficult to move in. But despite this, he was praised for the action he was able to pull off in the suit. And he's got moves. That's what we're talking about.
He has got fucking moves.
As for the cast, when I looked it up, it seemed to be big and a lot of characters we haven't met, so I'll just talk about actors when we get to them for the most part. But for this batch, we got Gen Otori, our protagonist, played by Ryu Manatsu. Of course, Dan Moriboshi is once again reprising his role, Kochi Morotsugu. Our new team, Mac, we got Akio Kuroda, played by Kenzo Kuroda. Ichiro Aoshima, played by Yuichi Hanagasawa. Kiyohiko Akashi, played by Kenji Oshima. Junko Shirakawa, played by Meiko Mito, previously played Aki's friend in an episode of Return of Ultraman and the nurse in the Meth episode of Taro. Then we got Haruko Momoi, played by Kyoko Aradama. We also got some guys in the Junan Sports Club as our, slice of life guys. We got the manager, Seiji Omura, played by Yu Fujiki, who played some bit roles in a couple of Kurosawa movies. We got Kaoru Omeda, who is the little girl, played by Yushiko Tominaga, who would go on to become a voice actress under the stage name Mina Tominaga. Some of her roles include Persia from Persia the Magical Fairy, which is a 80s magical girl show. Kasumi Asao from City Hunter. Majorino, one of the villains from Smile Precure. Squirtle from Pokemon. And also, let me know if you heard this one. Noah Izumi from Pat Labor.
Nice.
That I have to reckon with the fact that Squirtle is the same character as
this child.
Yeah.
The frolicking with Leo. Her brother, Toru, is played by Tsunehiro Arai. He previously played Jiro in the Onibamba episode Taro. Then we got Takeshi Nomura, played by Yukio Ito. He would go on to play Mita Ranger in Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger, and Battle Cossack and Battle Fever J. He also apparently became lifelong friends with Koichi Koji Murasego on the set of the show, even though his character and Dan don't actually interact much in the show. And finally, we got Momoko Yamaguchi, played by Kaori Okono, who left the industry the following year. She played, and stuff we've seen, she's played the one Invader girl who got killed by her sister in episode 46 of Mirror Man. The older sister of the Kid of the Week in Ace's Bad Baron episode. And the one granddaughter who got possessed by Medusa in the Medusa Hurts episode of Taro.
I don't think I remember any of the... I remember the Medusa one.
I was about to say, literally none of these ring a bell for me.
You don't remember the one girl who's like, damn, I can't believe I want to experience all of Earth before I die, and Kyotaro's like, oh, I will be over before you know it.
Oh yeah.
I do remember her. I do remember her.
Okay. I can't put a face, but I do remember.
Yeah. I couldn't put a face either. I just remember the episode plot. As for the crew, producers are Akira Tsuburaya, Ken Kumagai, and Nochi Hashimoto. Kaiju suit actors are Katsui Ueda for episodes 1 to 21, Toru Kawai for episode 22 to 39, and Shrug for episodes onward from that. Whatever. Sculpted by Kaimai Production and others, according to the wiki, so thank you. Anyway, that's my spiel.
Okay. Let me pull up some stuff. So, we got 3 episodes of Ultraman Leo that we watched this week.
Mm-hmm.
Episode
all of them technically 2-parters, but we watched half of one of them.
Yeah.
That's just now we gotta take when it's 3 and 3 all the way down. So
that's fine. It was a weekly show. People waited for the second part of 2 parts.
We're an odd paced podcast in an even numbered world.
Yeah, I mean,
true.
I go out of my way to do it when we need to double up anyway to do 4. But if I don't have to, then I won't. So that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. It ultimately doesn't actually matter because these are weekly shows.
Yeah.
We will live.
Speaking of weekly shows, I can finally reveal the thing said at the end of Ultraman Taro is next week
say?
Ultra 7 fucking dies.
Yes. Yep.
Episode 1, the day when Ultra 7 dies is the day when Tokyo sinks. Featuring
we were so
Ultra
bad.
7, Alien Magma, Black Giras, and Red Giras. I've got a summary here. Let me... there we go. Ultra 7 is back. Return of Ultra 7. Ultra 7 is fighting a couple of kaiju on the coast. These are Black Giras and Red Giras, and they have a deadly spin attack. Ultra 7 is faring okay, but... oh no, here comes Alien Magma. An alien with a human mouth. Under the direction of Alien Magma, the Giras break Ultra 7's legs. And at this point, a new Ultra shows up, Ultraman Leo, the Ultraman with a stupid head. Leo fights off the kaiju, and Magma leaves, but there is no decisive victory. Ultra 7 turns back into our good friend Muraboshi Dan. Dan is the captain of MAC. What is MAC? It's the Monster Attack Crew, once again raising some important questions about my preference in summaries for the term kaiju. Is this a sign? Will I, at long last, change my ways? Will I finally just call them monsters? Who can say?
I mean, you can call them that
After chasing away the kaiju, Leo transforms into Otori Gen, who finds Dan and explains that he's an alien too. Gen is from a planet very similar to Earth. I believe it's called L77 or something.
Yeah.
Which just had me thinking of Alien. But Alien Magma destroyed that home. Did he destroy the planet?
Yeah.
Is the planet gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
The planet took its last L.
Shut the L78, the last L. And now Gen is living here on Earth, hiding out as a human. Dan explains 3 things to Gen. 1, Alien Magma will use the Giras attacks to sink Japan. 2, Gen must join MAC. Why? Well, because 3, Ultra 7 is dead. Dan can no longer transform into Ultra 7. It's up to Leo to defend the Earth now. The setting sun is Moroboshi Dan, and tomorrow's rising sun will be Otori Gen.
He takes out the Ultra Eye, and it starts to, like, burst into flame and spark.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Mac is part of the Space Patrol, and their headquarters are on Thunderbird 5. Gen joins and gets introduced to the rest of the crew, who are all basically going unmentioned for the summaries this week. We will get to know them in due course. More importantly, Gen works at a sports center where he's everyone's favorite guy. He's reliable, he'll cheer you on, he'll help you with your homework, and if you're really lucky, he might let you join him in an extended musical interlude. Gen is only part-time at Mac so that he can come back to Earth to work at his sports center, and I'm like, how did you get this contract? How did this work out? Crisis. An island has sunk. When Mac investigates, Gen uses his ultra sensors to determine alien magma was definitely behind this. He's sure, but his assertions are rejected. He confronts Dan, and Dan says that Ultrasight is neither here nor there, as the two of them are aliens living as humans, and they must abide by human rules. Besides, Gen cannot win alone. Gen insists it doesn't matter who is an alien, he knows alien magma is involved, and also he can too win alone. I'll show you. So he's going to go do something about it. As the confrontation comes to a head, disturbances are detected in Tokyo Bay. The Gearasses are back and causing a flood in Tokyo. Gen turns into Leo and gets the shit kicked out of him by the Gearass, like twin. Are they brothers? Are they twins? What's the deal here? I don't know.
Fucking matter. Same difference this one.
Lovers.
No, it's not that.
It's not that? Okay.
They
Leo can only exist on... Okay. Leo can only exist on Earth for 2 minutes and 40 seconds, which is a weird amount of time. We have learnt the reason.
This felt like
ridiculous.
There was a behind-the-scenes conversation that went on way too long over something that did not matter, and a very weird compromise got reached.
Also, this is a two-parter. Come back next week. The end. The episode just ends.
Yeah.
So, do we want to just go straight into the second episode, or?
Yeah, I feel like
well.
that's a good idea.
Okay. Episode 2 is called The Great Sinking, Twilight of the Japanese Archipelago, featuring Ultra 7 Alien Magma, Black Geras, and Red Geras, same as the first one. We pick back up where we left off with Ultraman Leo in a Daipinchi. The fight in the middle of Tokyo is causing widespread havoc. There's buildings collapsing, there's cars falling from the sky, there's a guy burning to death. Go back to the cars. A car falls from the sky and critically injures a woman called Momoko, who saved a girl I did not include in my summary because I did not realize she was necessarily going to be a recurring character, but apparently she is. This is Kaoru. Gen knows Momoko and Kaoru from the sports center. The fight continues. Alien magma shows up. Geras does the spin attack, and Leo gets owned. Dan has to step in and use his only remaining weapon, psychokinesis. It shortens his lifespan, but he's able to stun the kaiju. Leo takes the opportunity to cut off the Geras' horns, which is where they get their power from, and the enemy flees. Dan scolds Gen for fighting despite his warnings, and for fighting to avenge his own planet instead of prioritizing the defense of this one. To fight in the middle of Tokyo is to fight at the expense of human lives, at the expense of Momoko's life. She's in the hospital right now. Gen visits Momoko, and it's not looking so good. Alright, time to train. The Gearasses will grow back their horns soon enough, so Dan instructs Gen on how to defeat the Geras spin, which will be the key to winning the next fight. Gen has a truly ridiculous montage about spinning in the opposite direction to the Geras spin and hitting them from the top. He's like doing trampolining and then like rotating in floating in space. Gen is still training when the next attack starts, and Dan tells him, okay, I want you to listen very carefully, because apparently you don't like doing that. You will not join the fight until you have mastered this counter. Dan leads Mac's attack on the kaiju, but it's a futile effort, and he watches. What are they called? The Mackies? Are these called Mackies?
Which one?
Mackie the aircraft?
Yeah, Mackie.
Yeah, I
can't believe they're called that.
Not a fan.
Not a fan of the
of the name. Of just the name. Yeah.
Yeah. You can't get a Mackies right now. They're still boycotting them.
Yeah, true.
He watches a Mackie go down and explode. Mac can only buy time for Gen to perfect the counter. good news. Gen has perfected the counter. Leo shows up and has a really acrobatic fight with the Girasses. Alien Magma shows up and the Giras spin kicks in. Leo leads them further out into the sea to avoid fighting in the middle of Tokyo, and then, with very little time left on his color timer, he pulls off the counter, the corkscrew kick, and kicks the heads off both Black Giras and Red Giras. Alien Magma flees, the day is saved, but Momoko isn't. She's still in critical condition. Gen collapses on a beach in despair, screaming, "Don't die." And then, in a step beyond pathetic fallacy, his despair legitimately conjures up a storm. And in his youthful, divinity, his feelings, embodied by a ridiculous puppet head of a roaring lion, restore the sunken island back to its proper place and brings life back to Momoko in her hospital bed. Later, on the beach, Gen tries to tell Momoko it's his fault she was injured, and she tells him that she dreamed he saved her, and she wants to believe that. Dan arrives and points at the rising... Dan arrives, congratulates Gen on protecting the Earth, but who can say when the next threat will arrive? I can. It'll be in a week. The end.
Hell yeah.
This is a fucking sick opening two-parter.
Yeah, it's great.
Also, should I press the button?
Foundation... oh yeah, go for it.
I believe in medical.
Miracle!
Ultraman, thank you!
Thank you, Mel. So the central... First of all, let's talk a little bit about style. There's a lot of... there's almost like fisheye lens shit they're doing with the camera, where they're following characters, doing the shaky cam, following characters around.
There's Gen leaving the gym at some point to go see Momoko, and then Dan clotheslines with a fucking cane.
Oh yeah, every time Gen is about to do something rash, Moroboshi Dan deploys the crutch, and I'm like, it's his number one tool against Gen's antics. But yeah, there's a lot of we're having fun little stylistic flourishes in these two episodes. I was kind of like I don't know. It's like it establishes a different toned Taro, which was like a much more straightforward thing. This is a little weird. This is a little new.
Yeah.
We mentioned special effects this week.
Yeah.
Go hard.
It is funny they do still use the Sigurath Tsunami for a moment in episode 1.
They did. I did recognize it.
Still using it.
So yeah, they're flooding Tokyo, and they're flooding and islands off the coast of Japan. They are constructing sets and ruining them, at a pace that I assume that I was like, are you bankrupt already?
Yes, right. I know there's an oil crisis. What are you gonna do with the rest of the show's budget?
What are you gonna do for the rest of the show? You just spent all your money on these first two episodes, wrecking the 30 sets. Ridiculous shit.
Yeah. Yeah, my first thought, even only having seen, because I watched episode 1 and then got back to it a week later because I watched it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch this the week when you have to watch it on a mnemonic. Even then, without having seen the second half of the plot, I was like, this is probably the most banger and compelling episode 1 we've had, with Blazer maybe being the only one I can think of that comes close in terms of just going for the fences kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. The foundation of this show is first of all, this show is built on the foundation of the idea that Ultra 7, that Moroboshi Dan is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes,
which we
true.
We knew. Go listen to our season of Ultra 7.
Yeah. But the foundation of this show is this relationship between Gen and Dan. And they, this is the lightning in a bottle for this show. This shit's good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I'm so curious how the show would have been if they didn't cast Dan, and he didn't go, "Hey, I'm Dan," though.
And they just had a captain. They just had a normal captain.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to...
It would be too normal.
Yeah, I do feel like, in my ideal world, Ken Sakata would be doing the race car version of this to go in Return of Ultraman. But in the absence of that, yeah, it does feel like too perfect for something that was like a retroactive change because of a casting decision.
Mm-hmm.
It works. So I was shocked when you said this was kind of an accident. I was like, this is surely the central idea of the entire show that you built the rest of it out of.
Like, I figured
you
this
mean,
was
you
like...
mean it just happened to happen?
I figured this was like a part of the pitch and sentence too. Yeah. Now, I will say, because I love this. Don't get me wrong, I love this. I do think that this is maybe a little bit more grim than I would have written Dan personally. I think it works for what they're doing, but he feels not always like the same guy that we knew from 7.
Yeah.
And I do think they're maybe doing so, like, he got his ass kicked, and like he is very, you could tell that he's in 100% taking this serious mode. But he does feel a little different.
This guy would not get really excited about
rally racing,
long distance rally racing.
Yeah, he's not the same guy who's like on top of the car episode 1 laughing about it.
Yeah, but that time he was a rookie, and now he's a veteran. He's grizzled.
He's seen some shit.
I think the way this works for me is that we get into this in the 3rd episode, is the burden of leadership.
Yeah.
Dan's role as captain, he is it's so good. I can't. Yeah,
he's also a little divorced. Not like really,
but like he's got energy.
Yeah. He's got the divorced energy.
It is fun, like putting like a former like Ultraman in the role of a captain.
See, this is franchise shit I can get behind.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the kind. None of this, less. Well, obviously Zoffy can come back anytime, but less like just this guy shows up, does a special thing, and Taro has a pet rabbit dog. This is what the land of Ultra looks. There's a bell. There's a bell. We're gonna use the bell.
Yeah, because it's actually writing it, like it's using it to tell a story about this instead of just going, "Hey, remember that other show we made that people really liked? Yeah, remember that."
Yeah. I think I really so Gen's deal is that he's young, he's hot-headed, and Moroboshi Dan has seen it all.
Yeah, but also
is
Gen has a weight, which is the burden of his lost hometown / entire planet.
Yes,
his entire planet was destroyed. Alderaan was obliterated.
I love this shit because like this. So is the implication that he was the Ultraman of another because I'm assuming L77 is not all Ultra people. Like it's another.
I guess we don't know, but also like the degree to which it's like just complicated. Like there's a degree to which I think that like when you come from space, you just have powers on Earth.
Yeah. Because
are you suggesting a read on Gen, which is that he has already failed to save the planet?
Like that is my entire read that I've had so far from this, is that he is the Ultraman of a show we didn't get, of another planet that's kind of like Earth, but I mean probably different in ways that don't matter because it's gone now. Lol.
Yeah.
But like he is an Ultraman that has already failed once.
If I was
which adds a weight to it.
if I was to hedge my bets, my gut is that like future interpretations. I actually don't know for sure because I don't actually know how much because I guess the planet's gone. But my bet is like future interpretations. Like imagine his planet as like an alternate, like a planet similar to the Land of Light, where like
I
an
like that
Ultra
less, but I'll take it.
Yeah, but like, you know,
for now, we can just do it. We can just say what
Yeah,
we
yeah.
like.
For now, I'm believing he is
I mean,
a failed hero.
but I also think like this degree switch still works either way, because you know it would be a failed hero, even if there's like other people like him on the planet, kind of thing. Just like he's just the one who survived, and he has to look. There's still a survivor's guilt either way.
Yeah.
And like a desire for revenge, and like crucially, Alien Magma does not get beat this episode.
No, Alien Magma sticks around, but crucially, he's not involved in the third episode.
Yeah.
We've done it, ladies and gentlemen. We have a consistent villain who isn't just, arbitrarily involved in every bad thing that happens.
We're so fucking here.
We've defeated the ghost of Ace.
We've discovered.
We've crafted well-written TV.
We've tacked into a new form of television writing on a tech tree.
Yeah.
Good.
I don't know how true this is, but Cross Zeta on Discord raised to be the idea that the coach from Gunbuster is like one part the coach from Aim for the Ace and one part Dan from this show.
Oh, I can see it. I can see it.
Because you know Anna would be like that.
Fucking Gunbuster, what a show.
So yeah, the other, one of the elements of this relationship is that it seems like a running theme of this show is that Gen's not gonna be able to beat the kaiju first time. And Dan's gonna be like, all right, I gotta teach you how to beat this kaiju. I could do it. If I was Ultra 7, you and I could beat this
guy
kaiju.
who lost to this kaiju.
You're on your own. So yeah, you're on your own. So I need to teach you how to win. And goes through a little training montage, learns to do it, and there's some difficulty along the way. And then we'll defeat the kaiju.
Yeah.
It genuinely feels like this show, and I'm happy it's not, but it feels like there is an alternate world not too far away from our own timeline where this show is called Return of Ultra 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it kind of feels like it's doing that.
This is fucking like Batman Beyond for Ultra 7.
Yeah, like it's doing some of the go-isms that we love about like it doesn't come naturally. He needs a little bit of guidance.
Yeah.
But with the Ultra 7 flavoring and the mentor.
That's why like I was saying like if I did my own like if I was like given the chance to do like a reboot of Return of Ultraman type thing, I would definitely bring in elements of this into it because that was like the unfortunate thing is like the actual like mentor relationship between Ken and Go is like less served, especially because like the racing element ended up being not a thing.
Dropped.
Yeah.
And that's like obviously that's the only thing I'd like go into if I could take a crack at that idea.
and
we know Moroboshi Dan would be enthusiastic about racing.
Yes.
Check
our thumbnail for Detour Quarry.
I was gonna mention it earlier when we were talking about the racing aesthetics of the Sentai, but I've been on the cusp of getting into F1 for a minute here, and that might be happening soon.
I feel like
I see.
There's
different from rally racing, very important.
I have the idea in my head like, oh, motorsports could be an interesting thing for me to get into, but also I'm like, I don't know if my brain is like built for sports in that way, like following sports.
Okay. See, that's why I'm like I need a thing to follow that's not fighting games.
you gotta hook me up if you do take a plunge, just so it'll help.
You can get into the Premier League.
Maybe. See, the thing with F1 is that I know other people that are into it, and also because I work in automotive, my coworkers are like the people.
Okay, yeah.
Like I'm the deer, and like 10 people I work with have the like food in their hands, and they're leading me in directions. There are already people.
I thought you were about to say I'm the deer, they are the headlights.
Oh.
I'm the deer, me when I'm the protagonist.
There are already two people There are two people I work with, both in separate departments from the one I work in, and separate from each other, that are like banking me to like their F1 team. and are like vying for
okay.
And I'm like, I'm not even sure I'm into this yet.
Here's the thing. Teens, you gotta care like a little bit about teens. You also gotta care about guys.
Yeah.
Everyone has like personalities, except for the guy who always wins all the time lately. He doesn't have a personality.
That sounds like just like an sports anime, but real life.
His personality is he sucks.
The
His personality is that
racing.
His personality is that the moment anyone actually competes with him, he just kind of runs them off the road.
He is the Shin Hayato of racing. What the fuck?
He's a fucking asshole. Everyone hates that motherfucker. I can't even remember his name, but I know everyone hates him.
I'm trying to think of anything. We talked about the effects. They're amazing. This, I do feel like, is maybe the Ultraman Classic where they go all out for the first 2 episodes. And
that's my concern, because we know the budget's not free at the moment. But
we specifically they got to tone down the special effects.
At the same time,
like that's not toning it down.
Oil's more expensive, but you know what isn't? Water, baby.
At the same time, this does just feel like this is the most impressive we've seen from this franchise.
Since there's been a lot of stuff that is like not on this scale, but is nonetheless visually impressive.
Yeah.
A lot of the whirlwind stuff.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Typhoon
the
stuff.
thing that this reminds me. Well, obviously the tsunami they keep reusing in Return of Ultraman is pretty good, but the thing this reminded me of was the fucking windstorm in Rodan, which is the film.
Your favorite special effect ever.
Yeah, it's sick.
It's very sick. It's honestly probably one of my favorites too.
Thank you for plugging my Neospring. And that effect was so impressive. They just took it and put it in Ultra Q, and it was still good then. But this feels like the first time we've seen this franchise actually do that, and it is kind of impressive they did it. And when like we said, the budget is not there.
Yeah. And
also
go ahead.
Go for it.
Okay.
You go.
I feel like each of us have maybe lamented in past episodes too. Sometimes we also after having seen enough of these, sometimes in these episodes you get to the fight scene and you tune out a little bit because it's it's a formality.
Despite the fact that the genre is this, it does sometimes feel like the battle rages.
Yes, and this is the first time in a minute where I'm just the action and the actual violence and stuff is so in concert with the storytelling and what's actually supposed to be happening that I'm drawn in. And the effects are so on point. There's craft here.
And maybe some of that is they have to be. Well, obviously, the flooding and the storm itself is a big fuck off budget money, but in terms of the superhero effects, they have to tone those down a bit more, and so that's why we're getting more the physicality of the fucking Bruce Lee kung fu instead, and that's probably better for storytelling than whatever.
You also just have to you have to be laser focused with what you choose to do.
Yeah. Because I think that's also the thing you mentioned since Ace, where you feel the types of fight you were seeing from Kamen Rider was just more exciting to you than the stuff we're getting in Ace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel by bringing more of this martial arts focus in, you can get a bit more of that energy into the Ultraman scale.
Yeah, because in Kamen Rider, people are throwing weapons, they're catching them, and they have fights near lagoons where people are being tripped and then pushed into the water.
Yeah.
The core it's just a little more dynamic. Yeah.
I forgot to mention the final battle of Boonboomger just takes place in a park. It's great.
Lol. One of the other significant things in these 2 episodes is the extreme focus on civilian casualties.
Yes.
Of these huge creatures fighting in the middle of Tokyo. This goes hard.
This
the
is
guy
my shit.
Burning
this
alive
is my shit.
It's rules.
That guy who grabs the fish.
Like it's mentioned, we're mecha fans. We like this shit. This shit owns.
It's funny that the guy who grabs the fish is gonna be a recurring character.
Lol. Yes.
I think the effect of like when they dropped the car on the was like better than expected. Like obviously not great because of the time, but like for the time, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah. It works.
I do think it's funny that episode 1
shocked she wasn't instantly dead.
Yeah, I do think it's funny that like episode 1 has an extended sequence of Gen frolicking with Kaoru.
It's so long.
It is so long.
Yeah.
But then also episode 2 is flashing back to Gen to Momoko frolicking off screen for that same frolicking. Like
Yes. She was not. You weren't there. You were not there. I didn't see you. I obviously I popped for a Thunderbird 5. However, this is a little bit of a Matt underwater base. Because they are just popping down to Earth and back up again, like it's no problem.
I do have this. This is a thing that I was thinking the entire 3 episodes. Would we have preferred if instead of a new team, this was just Matt? I don't know if it really matters too much for me, but the names being so similar and Dan being here, I was like,
I mean, Dan was not in Matt.
Like,
oh shit, you're right. Fuck, I'm getting my teams confused.
Here's the thing.
Oh wait, no, because Matt was just
Return of Ultraman.
Yeah.
This is Mac, which is a monster attack crew, which is different from Attack, the terrible monster attack crew.
Yeah, what's Ultra Guard? Should this have just been the Ultra Guard? I guess is what I was trying to say.
The thing is, Dan could not have joined the Ultra Guard because he is on their records as having been Ultra 7 and dying and going back to space.
Yeah.
Some delete the papers. For a reason they do feel a need to like. I just have to assume that making a new team like gives them an excuse to like. I think
sell toys, new toys.
Yeah. If you sell, if the team has a new aesthetic, you can sell more toys. You can change the costume up. It feels like from the logic of like from the logic of continuity is obviously ridiculous, but from the logic of we're selling a new show, like this is a new show for this year, this is a new team, then yeah, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I do wonder if at any point one of these shows does do like a throwback thing, like it's like because you can do like this is the old team, but they rebranded and they have a bunch of new shit that is based on the old shit, but is different.
It'd be interesting to see.
You could do it as go for it.
I just think it'd be interesting to see like what future shows may do with like play around with the concept of like teams and like if a show is a sequel, like how they may do that. We'll have to see.
You could totally do an episode investigating what happened to with like someone investigating what happened to these people and like where all the money went on this ridiculous turnover of anti-kaiju teams.
Yes.
Also,
like doing like an audit.
I do feel the need to mention this in terms of while we're specifically on the topic of teams and aesthetics. Did anyone notice the car, the macaroni?
I did. I noticed the fucking clown car.
Wait, hold on.
This
is a Tide Pod.
I'm like losing it because it feels like I don't think it's necessarily the same vehicle because I look at closer, look like there's a lot more differences between it. But like I'm looking like it looks like my first reaction was they modified the Rabbit Panda to try and make it look serious, but could not fundamentally change the fact that it's still the Rabbit Panda underneath.
It doesn't have the clown nose anymore. But it is still. I will still think of it as the clown car.
It's got like a more of a military vehicle aesthetic, but still like absolutely ridiculous in its design. And obviously, it's like a toy that they're gonna sell, but
Yeah, this is a Jeep Wrangler with horns.
Yeah. Also, it does need to be said.
Your mom's fucking sorry.
Fucking orange again.
We are orange again.
It is the science
traditional
color, but also it is like 3 out of 4 seasons this stretch have an orange, and like for Matt it made sense because Return of Ultraman, but like it does I'm hoping when we get to like future seasons like in the 90s and stuff like that, we get like I guess I know the 90s colors, but I'm hoping we get like less orange in the future because it feels like the kind of thing you want to pull it out for when it's special and not just like it's the default. Like Zat was first were goofy, but they were iconic because they went for like the red and blue instead of like just going for orange again.
Mm-hmm. We've got where was it going? I did my thing where I started talking and thought that I would have something by the time I got there. I didn't. Rip.
Can I talk about who
what
made
else
these?
Can I just say that first?
Yeah.
I love Dan spinning a top and then throwing his cane up in the air and having it smash the top. It's fucking...
It's so
like,
good.
Oh, I did want to say, I love how with all the severity of what's happening here, I love Dan very angrily explaining to again, like, hey, you know how you beat this thing? You're gonna fucking spin really fast and drop down on it.
Yeah,
this is the core plan.
You don't stop until you break this rock. You break it, you fucking chipped it. I could break this fucking cane, loser.
Just it still has that inherent silliness that's gonna come with this stuff, and I'm so here for it. It's
like
great.
Gen screaming agony as he spins on the fucking twirly thing in the gym. He's like, Gen, are you okay? It's like Umino in that episode of Taro. Also, I do think it's also funny, just like, Dan is gone full like Batman Bruce Wayne moded, where it's like Gen's like, okay, like, well, Gen is a bit jumping the gun a bit, where he's like, he doesn't necessarily know, but Dan is more self-aware about like the fact that he's like has all this space knowledge, but like you can't just be like, well, how do you know that kind of thing? And he's just like, okay, listen, we may know, but if we are pretending to be humans, there's no way we would know, and you have to keep that in mind. Which,
And Gen's like, why the fuck does that even matter? And Dan's like, ooh, we gotta deal with you.
Yeah.
I can't stop.
Me, if I was Kenichi and Taro telling me he personally let my dad die.
I can't get the mental image out of my head of fucking old Bruce Wayne at a playground with Terry and just watching him spin on a merry-go-round, and he's like, faster.
It's I love their energy. I think they're fantastic.
It's really good.
I also just I think
I don't call myself Dan Moroboshi in my head. Dan calling attention to the idea. Okay, right now you're trying to avenge your home planet, and like I'm real broken up about that. Obviously, that's real sad. There is a planet right here that I'm trying to protect, and you're getting so many civilians killed. Yeah. And Gen says this when he says, "Well, Earth is my new home."
Earth is my new home. Dan's like, doesn't seem like it.
And worth noting that it seems like I didn't realize this until like, Gen just lives at the sports club. He just lives in a closet there.
Yeah, he doesn't have a home.
But I like this because it reminds me of like early 2000s Kamen Rider, where like they had to just like find a place to live that was like just a random place, like a
where is Godai's home? Where does he sleep?
Sleeps in the attic of the fucking cafe, and that's just the energy.
It's like in Build, don't they live in the cafe too? Basically,
yeah. And like in
he's up there with the Persona 5.
Mildly spoil the first few episodes of Ryuki, but like Ryuki, the protagonist of Ryuki, gets kicked out of his apartment and has to like crash at like a cafe where he works part-time.
Lol.
And that's kind of energy I liked in like mid 2000s, early to mid 2000s Kamen Rider, where it's just like part of the early episodes is like the Kamen Rider is kind of like homeless, and he needs to like find a place to stay where he's going to be like his crib to hang out with the rest of the show. And that's, I kind of like that. Like Gen's room at the sports club reminds me of that, where it's just like, this isn't like a place where a normal person would live, but like it is like, it's got that Toku energy where it's like he's got a place, and it's like attached to like his like outside of kaiju obligations, and he has those, which is nice.
So this show has its this show has its priorities straight, because the Mac Team aren't really characters that we are getting to know yet. We're getting to know the Sports Center people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was also a fan of this.
Like, the Sports Center people seem like are just important in Gen's life. And like, that was like a thing we've seen him try in Return and Taro with varying degrees of success.
And obviously this time it will work perfectly because nothing's going to go wrong in Ultraman Leo.
Yeah.
I will say, compared to like Taro and Ace, we mentioned, like, the introductions for the team feel like it's like, okay, you see these before, you know, you'll get to know them, whatever they're here.
Member Nanbura, member Kishida.
Yeah, and this, it feels more like, know their names, they're important, they'll be important, but we got other stuff we need to address first. We'll get to them. Different energy to the brevity here.
Oh, I like their aircraft that they can stand up in, that they can all be like in as a crew. They've got an aircraft that they were scanning the where the island sank in, and they've got like people in the background with like these instruments.
That does remind me,
and
like,
I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Gen just being like, you should check there, it's right there, and they're like, oh, you don't see anything. It reminded me a bit of like Return of Ultraman, where it's like Matt does not trust Go at the start.
Oh yeah.
I think this show's really fucking good.
Yeah, let's us in. Let's hope it stays.
Have we ever talked about a first episode this much? I mean, to be fair, it's a two-parter.
It is a two-parter.
Yeah.
Ultra 7 was not this good at the very start.
Yeah, like that's why I said, like, this is like the most impactful, like, and it being a two-parter definitely helps too, but like, even like I said, like, even with episode 1, like, it is the most impactful first episode I think we've had.
I do have a fondness for Ultra Q's first episode, but that's less to do with the episode itself and more at the enthusiasm of me realizing what I was dipping my toes into.
Yeah. Like, like I would say, like, we haven't had a bad first episode, but there's just the one that's just like, holy fuck. And like I said, like, I think only like Blazer's episode 1 gets close in terms of like doing something really cool and impressive. But also, you know, we have our opinions on Blazer, and hopefully we know this will be a troubled production, really, and we'll have to see if it's troubled in a way that tickles our brain or not.
Yeah, because 7 and Return, I both remember we were pretty positive on the first episode for just being very strong character introductions. But, like, this is that and more. It's like
a strong character introduction. It's like strong premise, hook, and also just like the biggest fuck off set piece we've had.
Yeah,
it's just like it's doing so much.
Now I will say
my favorite boy Moroboshi Dan is back and he's sad.
Yes. And he's slapping people and telling them no, train better.
It feels
be
like
smarter.
It feels like he's also the best choice for this.
Oh, 100%.
Because like, Go is off being Go.
Go's not ready to be a fake.
Yeah, and I also think like there were
multiple episodes.
The three from the previous shows are probably too young, and Hayata just isn't a guy.
No, fuck off, Hayata. There were multiple episodes of Return of Ultraman where we talked about how the premise of this show is that Go is not as cool as Moroboshi Dan, because if he was as cool as Moroboshi Dan, he would have handled this.
Yeah.
And like he does get there, like we talked about in the end of Taro, where we're talking about, like, oh yeah, we like Go on like a similar level,
but like if Moroboshi Dan got psychically told by a child, "Hey, I know you're Ultra 7 and I'm here to kill you," Moroboshi Dan would be like, "Okay,
yeah,
well, I got to figure this out." He would not have immediately ran out there and slapped that child.
Which brings me, hey, funny you say that. Want to know who directed this episode?
Who?
Yes.
Tadashi Mafune, who is the guy who did the In Between a Devil and Angel Strangle a Child episode.
Oh, man.
Excellent. One of the best episodes of Ultraman.
I do actually want to say here, so this is actually kind of important. So we've talked about Tadashi Mafune before because he's directed... So he started with episode 30 of Return of Ultraman, The Curse of the Bone God Oxter, and then did the one right after, which is, like we said, the Strangle a Child episode. Did quite a few episodes for Ace. Some of these I do, like, I think Scary Story, The Demon Woman of Hotaru Gahara was actually one we were pretty positive on.
Yeah, the one where Minami throws a child in a wheelchair down a hill.
Yeah.
yeah.
And also, a game changer, Here Comes Zophie.
It was a game changer for a podcast.
Yeah, I don't know why I said
was.
Zophie and not Zophie, but whatever.
You said French.
But, you know.
Yeah, it's good. To be honest, that's more correct.
Yeah, true. And then Taro did 5 seconds before the Great Explosion of the Land of Ultra, Last Day of the Six Ultra Brothers, Pickle the Monster with Salt, and Oh, Taro is Being Eaten. And now, these are the last 2 episodes that he will work on, and we will no longer get any Mifune.
That's a shame.
So yeah, he moved on to other things. Apparently, he is still very active in documentaries and like panels and stuff, and like books regarding like working on Ultraman Tsuburaya productions at the time. Excuse me, had something in my throat. So you know he's still in the mix. I guess.
So like a Taro's actor, basically.
Yeah, he's also 92 years old. And worth noting, he also directed a little-known movie known as Japan Sings.
Oh, okay.
That's if you're gonna steal from anyone,
Yourself.
steal from yourself.
Yeah.
What's funny is I actually,
I'm not gonna sue myself.
It's really funny when Dan like leaves and he's like, watch out, or if you aren't careful again, Japan will sink. And I'm like, hey, it's like the movie that just came out.
Yeah. I actually did not realize that until the thing I'm looking at that has all of his episodes listed also is like also known for it. It's like, oh yeah, you did direct that. And a movie called Vampire, apparently. But then these both were written by Shigemitsu Taguchi. So
Okay.
Cool. Classic of Ultraman.
The one thing I will say is I'm morbidly curious because this ain't our first rodeo with one of these shows. I am so curious what the version of this show looks like when they are scrambling to go, fuck, we need to get another episode out. Because, first episode, they got time. They got, everything is in their favor in terms of production stuff. And, well, I guess not necessarily, but, oil issues aside.
From what it sounds like, and, you obviously... This is maybe pure copium.
Yeah.
What it sounds like, they might just be de-emphasizing the Ultraman bit.
Yeah. Maybe.
Which listen. I think the bits where Gen and Dan are people talking to each other, I think that shit rules. I think Dan interacting with the crew. I think Gen getting in, having human drama with like his people on Earth. I think that'll be good shit.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what like this show looks like in the 20s to 30s range. We'll get there. 10 weeks.
Hang on, yeah, you know what? Having 2 central characters like this means that one can be more involved in one world than the other. In a way that makes the world feel a little bigger, feel a little less like Dan isn't necessarily gonna be like friends with Gen's friends on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that it's what happened in real life.
Well, yes. Well, have we said all we have to say about these first 2 episodes? Oh yeah. I'm sorry.
Special effects director is veteran Koichi Takano. Red and Black Geras was designed by Tetsuo Osawa, who has designed a couple things from Mirror Man, which you probably don't remember, because he was because
they're all shit.
Mirror Man kind of like that, but 2, he mostly designed some machine guys. So he did the gravity machine from episode 10, and there was like a weird horseshoe crab shaped spaceship in episode 15.
I was gonna ask, have we seen the Red and Black Geras before, or at least one of them in like another modern Ultraman thing?
No,
okay,
I
wasn't sure. Okay.
I do have a bio for Osawa, but also this episode's running a bit long, and he's going to be sticking around for a bit, so I might just...
we're almost at 3 hours.
Also, I was also going to do the same for Nikamoto, but again, he's the suit actor for Leo, so I'm going to do him next week.
Yeah, we got a. It's a long. We got a long way to go in Leo. We will have
we'll have time. It's fine
down the road.
But I will say, just regarding these kaiju, Nikamoto claims that he played one of them as a suit actor, but I don't know logistically how that would work. Just because he'd be in the Leo suit, and also in the opening scene he'd be in the Taro in the 7 suit. So I don't know what's going on there. I will say that the kaiju seem to have been purposely designed to pay tribute to Sigurath and Simons.
It did occur to me that they both had horns and they were summoning like floods, and I was like, well,
including the same
this
one
does
for like
feel,
2
this
seconds.
feels like Sigurath. Yeah, well, yes.
Alien Magma is also designed by Tetsuo Osara. The suit actor was Yoshihisa Uragami, who I don't fucking know who that is. I will say that during this fight scene, apparently the Leo mask didn't have holes for drainage, so Nikamoto at some point broke the mask.
Oh no!
He broke the mask and when the water filled up high enough. Also, Alien Magma didn't have this problem because he doesn't have a mask on his face. But the problem he said was that the paint clearly comes off at some point.
Oh.
I don't know if you saw that shot, but there's a moment in the start of episode 2 where like Alien Magma gets like shoved the face in the water, and it comes out, and it's like, well, that's just not silver anymore. That's just a person. But yeah, I'll leave the bios for those 2 for next week, and that's it for now.
All right. Let me tell. Is that all we have to say about these first 2 episodes?
I think so.
So.
We said a lot.
There'll be a lot more to say, I think, on Leo going forward. But yeah, exciting for a start.
Can you please say the banger title for episode 3 of this program?
Farewell, Tears. Or a farewell to tears, depending on where you get the titles from. Featuring Alien Turok, the mysterious alien. A boy named Toru is learning to climb monkey bars at the sports center. I wrote Ports Center. Yeah. That's different.
This is
supported by
Kaoru's brother, who wasn't in episode 1 for some reason.
Yes, it is. This will it will become apparent that it hadn't quite clicked that Kaoru was a recurring character in just a second. Supported by Gen, Momoko, other staff at the sports center, and of course Toru's own little sister and his incredibly enthusiastic dad. Toru succeeds and the family heads home. But on the way, Toru's dad is cut in half by a mysterious alien, which leaves behind an emblem in the shape of Leo's head. What could this mean?
The Phantom Thieves.
Toru and his sister aren't... Yeah, Toru and his sister are now orphans with nowhere to stay, so Mac officer Suzuki volunteers to take them in for the time being. Suzuki drives the kids to his home, but on the way he gets cut in half by a mysterious alien, which leaves behind an emblem in the shape of Leo's head. What could this mean? Gen thinks about the orphaned kids and Suzuki's widowed wife and wants nothing more than to avenge them, but Dan stops him from doing anything rash once he deploys the crutch. He explains that this alien is very dangerous, not to be taken lightly. Also, it seems to be trying to ruin Leo's reputation with these emblems made of space metal. That's right, space metal. Anyway, Dan's got a plan. Trust Dan. Dan's plan is to find the pattern in the attacks and make sure to be at the scene of the next attack. Dan gets attacked by the alien and fends it off with his crutch. Gen shows up having figured out Dan's plan, but he only gets in the way. Dan has to knock him out and he injures the alien. The alien flees. Dan and Gen watch Toru getting a little too into martial arts, and Dan explains that rash action won't fix anything. It won't even avenge anybody. Not against Alien Turok. Turok attacks Tokyo and Mac launches to fight back, but Dan sees the futility of their attack and orders a retreat. Gen is outraged. Dan arranges an engine swap, a completely useless effort that will nevertheless give his subordinates some misplaced hope. They will need it for the useless efforts to come. This show's so cool. Dan tells Gen there's only one way, Leo, but Gen must learn to counter this alien's attack before Leo has any chance of winning. Gen gets another training arc, but he's rushing, and so much of his effort is wasted. Dan feels a little like this is all his fault. If only he had defeated Magma, he and Leo could beat Turok together, no problem. He gets the report the engine swap is complete, and he thinks to himself, they still believe in me. Turek appears and Dan gives the order for Mac to attack. He steps away from the computer and like looks down the line of the people he's going to send into battle, a completely futile battle, and then gives the order to launch. Moroboshi Dan's coolest man on the planet. Gen cuts his training short to turn into Leo and fight Turek, but Leo gets his ass kicked and he falls into the sea, with only the last few seconds left on his color timer as well. What will happen to Leo? Join us next time to find out the end.
Hell yeah.
This is the first part of a two-parter. This is really where that shit with Dan kicks in, where it's the burden of leadership thing. The whole thing of like him telling Gen is like, the engine swap is going to do nothing. I have ordered the engine swap because it will give Mac the idea that they stand a chance. And that's what they need to charge into battle.
Yeah.
That shit
He's
rocks.
like pontificates his fucking busted Ultra Eye.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I've already forgotten Dan's actor's name.
Koji
He carries
Motsugu.
this so well. Yeah, Murotsugu just carries this off so well. I'm very impressed.
Same. It's good.
He's got like he's got like a natural stoicism to him that works for this. I am a big fan of the alien that cuts people in half.
Yeah.
We got a fucking red. We have a fucking red shirt.
It's hard.
Have you heard of the knife alien?
I do like that we also got like a bit of like Dan bring up his alien encyclopedia, but now in the position of mentor.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it's back. It is. He's doing his old shtick.
Like instead of just like, how do you know that, Dan? It's more like, again, damn, you know so much.
That's
Yeah,
right, I do, but I can't let anyone around me know that I know
You're
so
so
much.
green, Gen. You never even heard of the knife alien.
I just fucking love it. It's like 3 episodes in, I'm already like, yeah, I love this show. It's great. Congratulations, I guess, to Cydrixer, who just kind of called it.
That we'd love this.
It's more like a cultural victory for them.
Cydrixer loves Leo.
Yeah.
That's been his thing for a while.
Yeah. True.
I hate to tell you this, we have a bunch of emails.
Yeah, I bet we do. To be honest, we can kind of keep discussion on this episode brief because it's the first part of a two-part.
We'll keep. There's could be stuff like we'll get into more next week, but you know.
Should I actually? On that note, I should say who made it, as I...
Yeah, you can just lead with that.
I juggle 2 different fucking books. So this was written again by Shigemitsu Taguchi, then directed by Kiyosumi Fukasawa, who, if I recall, is someone who I couldn't find a bio for, but did a shocking amount of Taro episodes. So to recap, started off, I believe, with the Monsters solo journey, which is the one where they went to the place where the kid's dad was drilling for hot springs. Also did the one with the monster with the cavity.
Oh, right, yeah.
Then did the 3-parter with the fucking bird on where Zoffy fucking dies. Then did the I Can Beat a Monster 2 episode with the dad who the kid's embarrassed by because of the illustrated boards thing being his job. Followed that up immediately next week with the Alien Mephiles episode that sucked ass.
It did suck.
Yeah.
That episode was not good.
I remember we weren't super hot on the Bird on 3-parter too. But don't worry, he brought it back strong with the episode where fucking Taro glows red and then blows himself up to kill the monster with the cool car chase at the start.
Now that episode is sick.
It was pointed out to me that it's funny that like considered like Taro's signature move when he only uses it once in the entire show.
He does it once, but it leaves an impact.
Yeah.
Here's
the thing. It makes an impact. Instantly. It's like, well, that's the Taro thing, obviously.
Yeah. He then also did the episode right the week after that with the street snack vendor with the slow-mo chase with the kid and the aliens on the construction site.
Oh yeah.
And then
that shit was good.
Yeah, this dude is like, we're so back, it's over. The director, it's amazing. Then
it's like, you know, sometimes you have lazy weeks.
Yeah, like the week where he also directed.
They call him Law of Averages, man.
Like the week where he directed the one about the young boy and the mother was in the hospital and he cheered her up with the graffiti on the wall. Because he also did that one. Yeah. And then the last one I believe he did is the one where Kotaro runs into his old friend and the dude's dad is mourning for his wife, so he makes a second android wife.
Hell yeah.
That episode did on.
What a weird oeuvre.
Yeah.
What a career.
Yeah. And it seems like he's going to be sticking around for Leo. A shame that nobody has apparently written anything about his life, nor does he have a Wikipedia page in English or Japanese.
He's
a working man.
Yeah. Unrelated, but I do remember something from this past week. I was at Locals and I was at a conversation and I told my friend who's of Chinese descent, because the term came up as a subject of conversation between him and someone else. I mentioned our conversation of Kong Ming as potential man, and he had a good laugh out of that.
Nice. Excellent. I'm glad to know it's got legs. All right.
Yeah.
Mel, have you got your stuff for this episode?
No.
We can like get this. Oh,
I was just saying for next week because two-parter. It's gonna be the same.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh right. Oh yeah. Sorry.
I was like, no point in repeating.
Brain empty.
I just want to fucking say the fucking bisection shit.
It's fucking rules.
So, I was like, did he cut it in half? Jesus Christ! Like,
the car door is the killer for me. Because like the first guy gets cut like clean in half. The second guy, Suzuki, the attack happens and he like, the cut happens. Nothing, like no special effects happens to him, but the actor like dives off screen, like off to the side, and the car door just like falls off in a clean cut, and it's such a fucking, it's works so well. It's really good.
Yeah. The fucking crystal with 3D printed. I mean, they would have been able to 3D print back then, but like just like the mold,
just the little badges
of like Leo's face, and it's like it's so funny.
I was here. I like the scene where Dan is talking to Gen about you know, I knocked you out because you couldn't do shit. And like they're talking about this watching over Toru doing martial arts, but like clearly like vicious. Yeah. Clearly like trying like violent.
Yeah.
And he's fucking up. And it's like the hatred in his heart means that he is in case he can't do it.
Because Dan's like, this is you when you were like last episode going for vengeance against Magawa. You have to watch out for this kid. And be careful. Also, I guess like the plus of the thing is like also watch out for yourself, I guess. And that stuff's good. Like they're building like stuff and themes. Like is weird Toru only showed up in episode 3, but you know they're doing a good job of like building him out as like a main game of the cast.
Yeah, I really like the minor touch in the training where it's like, he's like, yeah, you're rushing he's rushing the training, and by rushing the training, he's not training. Like he's not containing any of it. I think that's just good.
Fucking training where he ties his leg to a fucking tree and has to like jump up and kick.
The actual substance of the training is neither here nor we do not have to. I don't know what the hell he's doing or how it helps. I think, but you know he's training.
It's some real fucking Dark Knight Rises. Like, yeah, we'll fix your broken back with ropes and hanging ya.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to posting the image I made and post in chat earlier.
Oh yes, yeah, I was a big fan.
Did you see it, Brad?
In what post?
In our chat.
find it.
Let's see.
I'll presumably do it as the promo image
Oh,
for this week.
yeah.
We gotta get tortured for eternity tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I guess I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're having a good time with Leo so far.
Yeah.
We might have more to say about this two-parter next week when it concludes.
I am curious again with the production stuff, like Brad says, the 20s and 30s. But also, my view as like a seasoned Toku fan is like 20s and 30s are usually the lull of a show anyway. And I think what matters is like, do we like the start of the show, and more importantly, do we stick to the landing? Because like even if it's kind of mid in the middle, like I think that the start and the end is what make a Toku show for most people, because it's so long. So like, if it stumbles a bit in the middle for production reasons, it's to be expected. And as long as we like enjoy the end game, I think this will be a show we think fondly of going forward.
Yeah. So, for the first time since maybe Ultraman, this section matters because they're really doubling down on this. Mel, color farmers.
Would you believe me if I said they're fucking lying?
No, how could they?
What crap? Whoa!
So,
they would never.
I'm calling up my boy Atomo, who I think might be dead by this point.
So, episode 1, 2 minutes 29 seconds. And the second one, one where they specifically say it's 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It's 2 minutes 44 seconds. Carrying into the next episode, where the fight goes on for 4 minutes and 15 seconds, meaning consolidated is 6 minutes and 59 seconds.
It's so funny that their reason was, well, if we make it 2 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll have more time for human drama. And then the people on the shoot are like, what the fuck are they talking? What? That's never how it works. What? It's never been real.
And then the second one is 4 minutes 8 seconds.
Okay.
In episode 3, I'm indeterminate because it's a two-parter, and I don't know if Leo detransforms at the end or not. Assuming he does, because we see the bubble disappear into the water. That's 3 minutes 10 seconds. If he's still transformed by the end of next episode, that'll be 3 minutes 27 seconds plus whatever scene he has at the start of the next episode consolidated. But that's for next time.
Yeah.
Also, medical miracle count is at 19.
It is. Do we have emails?
Yeah.
You have confirmed we have emails.
I also can confirm
emails do we
Shoji
have?
Tomo did not live to see Ultraman Leo. He died in 70. He died in 73.
God, it would have been such an expose when the 2 minute 40 timer dropped.
Yeah. He would have written like 4 articles about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First we got
diagrams
from Jessica.
Hello.
They start off saying that they accidentally got the show order mixed up and thought they're getting ready to talk about the Ultraman, but sadly you're going to have to wait a long time.
A while.
She does say that she learned the new how to code keyword command so she could write out the Ultraman with a star every time without copy pasting. I respect that. Starting with the fun fact about the end of Taro. Persistent unconfirmed story claims Valky was originally planned to be Taro's evil brother.
Oh. I mean, any story about Valky is like, I'll take that because there wasn't.
He shows up.
Like, Valky's just there. It's shocking that I like the last episode of Ultraman Taro because it's complete. It's ridiculous.
They do the one thing really well though.
Yeah,
they do.
They hit it where it matters.
I don't know if there's just like she said something that's like I think
in the fuel tank.
It doesn't really match up with our subs from this episode. They say Leo says he comes from the planet L44 in Leo constellation, whereas the land of Light is in nebula M78 in the Orion constellation. This means that Leo is our first Ultra not from the land of Light, and though one must wonder why there's another planet with Ultras, I don't know if there's a sole explanation. Someone more versed in Ultra lore.
Well, we've got a theory.
Yeah,
we've got a theory about how that happens. That's just
I have no reason to believe there are other Ultras.
Yeah.
I am ready to be proven extremely wrong, but
He's just, Gen was of, whatever species was the dominant species on that planet and got turned into an Ultra in the way that humans do.
yeah.
And then, failed to save his home planet, and now he lives on Earth.
They say they don't know if it's an official explanation, but someone they know who's more of a lore head than they are has had canon that the planet was colonized by Ultras after the Emperor War.
This is also on brand.
It is. On to the second part of the eye-catching subject line, which is Zoffy's heart surgery was the subject line of the episode. A magazine provides
Zoffy's heart surgery? What?
Yeah, the email is Ultraman Leo and Zoffy's heart surgery.
I see.
Magazines provide the answer to how Zoffy returned after being killed by Birdon. First, Mother Ultra gathered 150 doctors to perform the surgery, then they transplanted Zoffy's Ultra heart, while also using healing beams like the Mother Ultra to heal the injuries. As we know, there was future success, and Zoffy returned to active duty afterwards. Jessica's thankfully included this nice image.
Oh god, what is this gonna be?
It works, but I'm... Oh, let me see this. Oh my god.
This looks like an execution.
It does. It does look like he's in front of a firing squad. Here's the thing. It's true. It's true to form for what it is, but I simultaneously don't like the term active duty for what the Ultras do. It's like a little too. I don't know. It veers into too real.
They're the space garrison.
They are.
Ultraman Galaxy Police. Anyway,
so true.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Thank you for your email.
Next email is from Tep, who's the one who I've been telling you has been going through our podcast. They recently finished Mirror Man. They're an old mutual of mine who I recently reconnected with because I didn't know where their account was for a while. But anyway, send an email.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me an excuse to do my third full rewatch of Leo, my favorite show that made my life better by making it worse, which is why this unreasonably long email. Okay, so we got another Leo sicko in the audience. That's good to know.
Okay, there are multiple Leo sickos.
Yeah.
I got the impression.
So
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I got the impression that Leo might be divisive in the broader Ultraman fandom. So the fact that like all the people who like Leo seem to like congregate our show is maybe a good sign for us.
I was worried clicking this first episode because we had so much hype built up around this. I was like, am I shooting myself in the foot? And then like I watched it, like, no, this shit.
I was definitely curious because I
rules.
Spoilers. I did know the name of the first episode for a long time, which is why I did ask Brad if you knew the title of episode 1 was, because they do kind of say it in the preview. Yeah. But yeah, I was curious what it meant, and it's just like, yeah. So far, I'm really happy that, at least in this first batch, it seems to be delivering on things we specifically have been wanting for a while. The opening 2-parter is epic always. I love how episode 3 parallels Gen endless suffering of Toru's down in the martial arts training. Yeah, we talked about that. It's pretty good. I remember Toru and Kaoru's dad getting dissected, but I forgot how right beforehand he's just being comic relief. Also, we didn't talk about this in the episode, but it's funny they're also just singing the Ring 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 song from that one episode of Toru.
Oh, they are. Yeah. They are singing the song. I do like that. I didn't bring it up in the summary, but I do like that dad character. For all of 2 minutes that he's on screen. It would be cool
if he was around more, but also, this is not.
I mean, listen. If you're gonna immediately kill a relative, then
make him likable.
Give them a decent amount of character first. And then it hits.
I always read the kid characters as being audience inserts. Hey kids, you could know Ultraman, but Toru and Kaoru are my favorites because, like, hey kids, you know who you could know Ultraman, but also have every parental figure who adopts you brutally killed by a knife alien. Who's Ultra trying to frame Leo for some reason.
To ruin Leo's reputation.
Also, great Dan lines such as "I don't want to see you cry again. There's no time." We forgot to talk about that. Dan has some good lines.
Yeah.
They still believe in me. They think changing the engine will save their lives.
It's so good. It's the shit that I like from a captain of a squad.
See, you know what I want is in episode 2 of them to be like, oh, there's a problem with the new engine, and Dan goes, fuck.
Lastly, I'm excited to hear people watch Leo who've actually seen all that came before it. I feel like Leo has a bit of a mimetic reputation, and a number of people watch it without watching much other Ultra shows, which contributes to being kind of lopsided perspective, such as some things that are Leo things are just Ace through Leo things, or even just Showa Ultraman things, and some of Leo's unique qualities can be lost in the mix, or reduced to things like,
that makes a lot of sense.
Or even reduced to, Dan is mean, or people die in this. Anyway, I hope you have fun, and I'll tune in each time. Thank you for your email. I'm glad you've been enjoying the journey.
Are we on our way to being elitists?
We
already are.
Oh, absolutely. Of course we are. We Who do you think we are?
Well, I mean,
of course we are.
Yes, I know this, but I
already feel this way about Gundam. I just don't like to say it because I feel self-conscious about being elitist. But I do feel this. I'm like, actually, our communities feel like Gundam's better.
Yeah,
I mean, same.
I think
like, I don't like
this shit here where people are. It is, the suggestion is coming through that Leo is maybe one that is unjustly maligned. We'll see.
Yes,
we'll see.
There may be
my mind
there
is
may
open.
be like valid reasons to critique it, like from the reasonable production issues behind the scene.
We got 47-ish episodes of possibility ahead of us.
The next 4 months is a blue ocean.
Yeah.
Next,
Tokyo used
I
to
am
do that.
so. I will say this is the happiest and most excited I've been in a while. I'll be like, I'm so happy that I get to spend like 3 months on this shit.
Yeah.
like it doesn't feel like I'm like, okay, we'll see how this one turns out. You know,
it is unfortunate. Like, the format we have means that we can't just like fast forward a 50 episode show.
No, but I do also feel like it is important, at least to some extent, for shows like this. I do genuinely think maybe it's best that we live with them a little bit. Because that, even if we're not doing it like one episode a week like it naturally was, that is how they were intended to be experienced.
Yeah, it's not like no one's... If you're smart, you're not marathoning Lupin the third part 2.
Some shit was meant to be...
That show was 3 years long.
Some shit was meant to be something that you check in on every now and again and not marathon watch. That is a very
this is
much newer concept.
This is why I'm doing my shit where I got weekly slots where I've got I watched 2 episodes of one. Like today I watched 2 episodes of Heartcatch. They were the episodes where someone got their powers back.
I need to be smarter, but then started a podcast about Saint Seiya, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm watching Saint Seiya.
I will be honest, Red, I would say the last 4 Saturdays in a row, I've had a notepad doc open, I should steal Red's thing, but I don't know what to put in yet.
People should steal this thing.
When I was doing my online job, I had a wheel, so because I was spending hours each day at a screen anyway, and let me get through stuff. But that's not my life right now, and so I feel like maybe the Red system is smarter. But I also am it's been really rough for me the past couple of months. Just
the thing with it is that you have to recognize the value of it. You have to enjoy it as an idea, because otherwise it becomes like a task.
Yeah.
And there are days where I skip it, where I'm like, I'm not. I think
that's the thing. After I be prepared that some days I'm gonna skip it because if I also have to account for my own schedule, basically.
Galaxy brain floating in the cosmos going, if I skip a week, that means I also need to skip the episode and then watch the next one.
Oh my god.
And then I go to the playground to ask the other kids, hey, what happened? I couldn't watch it. I had to go do tennis. And then I get dragged out of the school saying, please, sir.
We're gonna kill you with names.
That's the escalation of Dan's training. Anyway.
Yeah. Dan Northern Lion voice. Yeah.
Next email.
Next email. That's right. That's what we were doing.
Yeah. Next email from Shane. You may remember him from
Hello.
being the co-host on the Orgus Pod.
Yeah.
Uh,
I will
Hello.
say also, too, I feel like I've talked about this before. Every time the name Shane is mentioned in regards to Shane, I'm like, why did my childhood best friend, who I hit in the face with a baseball bat, and then we became friends over FF10, write into the podcast that he doesn't know exists?
anyway,
Yeah.
Shane has told me several times behind the scenes that like Leo is the only Showa Ultraman he likes, which is funny.
That's pretty good.
Hello, many decades ago I wrote in to say Leo was the good one. Now you're here. Truly a show with enough chutzpah to show two children being orphaned, adopted, then re-orphaned, like they were the kids from the series of unfortunate events. We're already set to me on a rewatch.
True. So, oh god, yeah.
Already set to me on the rewatch are the really great uses of camera techniques across both the miniature stunt work and emotional human acting scenes too. Yeah, we talked about good camera shit.
Touched on it a bit. Not necessarily my like wheelhouse. Wheelhouse.
We're not cinematographers,
it stood out.
so we don't miss. Like, we'll notice when something is like really stand out and obviously avant garde, but like maybe some of the more subtler techniques we are a bit of blind to.
Mm-hmm.
And here's a question: what wild form of training would you do in order to defeat a podcast adjacent enemy?
Ooh.
Okay. This is a very good question. So I've got an understudy that I have to whip into shape to podcast.
Yeah.
I am going to get them to.
Oh, I know what I'm gonna do.
What are you gonna do?
We're gonna record the podcast where we're like spending the entire time popping bubble wrap, and then they have to like edit it so that the bubble wrap is bubble.
Yeah. Absolutely.
See, considering,
And also,
like,
I'll occasionally be chewing gum and blowing bubbles. Pretend that's the thing I can actually do, which I can.
See, I'm thinking, like, since I can only train from my perspective, and I'm assuming that this is like the next generation Brad. This is the return of Brad.
The return of Brad.
I need to give them a respect for time. So, like,
I see.
I need to have them go out into the world and take notes with a journal of their surroundings. And then I make fun of them and point out all the things they missed out on and are not appreciating about 3 p.m. on a Thursday.
Yes.
Until they cry. And feel like they're living their life wrong.
My training, I've realized my training is not podcast related. My training is related to my life. So I catch a lot of trains that are in a company called Great Western Railway. And the training will involve running from late Great Western Rail train to on-time Great Western Rail train over and over again. It will involve standing in the most packed trains you've ever seen in your life. It will involve all sorts of shit. It will involve having to deal with the general public incapable of letting people off a train before they get on. It will just generally be the tiny little miseries of dealing with Great Western Rail that cause a general malaise in life.
God, my Midwestern ass just feels like an alien right now.
Trains are good. Trains suck. Trains are good. If I was actually training someone for like superhero shit, I would be, I don't know, I'd be like I'd be like trying to teach them to like take a hit instead of, causing damage. Like I would be doing the training to toughen them up, ready to take a hit for a civilian, which would involve them, self-inflicted violence over and over again to build up their tolerance.
I would would make them watch 8 Crazy Nights, and then they'd be like, "What'd you make me do that for?" I'm like, "Oh, you're not gonna like ever use this, but like it's another dumb thing you can make a joke about on social media to like promote the podcast." And then they strangle me.
Yeah. Imagine.
Oh, got to train an ultra hero to learn how to tolerate strangling a child.
I will actually say sometimes I work like in like online like marketing, like social media account like management stuff, and like making stuff for websites and social media feeds. Sometimes you do have to teach someone how to meme and actually be funny, and it's not a fun process.
Oh no.
It's kind of depressing.
Damn.
Sometimes someone tries to do something and you just have to go, "That's not funny," or "It's dumb. Don't do that."
It's a long road to being funny.
It is.
Not for me, baby.
Wow. Born with it.
Anyway, thank you, Shane.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your email.
You will continue to remind me of my childhood best friend just because you're named the same.
This is such a weird curse to inflict on Shane.
Yeah. I mean, listen. I'm sure there's someone listening that has another Brad in their life, and it's like, oh yeah. Like
my sister's boyfriend.
Oh. Yeah, me.
Yeah. I don't think so. You do not have the same. My sister's boyfriend Brad is cool. Oh, I like him. He recently insisted he was 6 foot. I am like exactly 6 foot tall, like within millimeters. He is like 2 or 3 inches shorter than me.
That's funny.
I
was like, "You're not 6 foot."
I have this with another friend in my friend group where so there's someone I met up with in real life when I did that West Coast trip or whatever, who I believe is like 5'8" or like 5'9" or something. I'm 5'10". And they were shorter than, like obviously like they were shorter than me or whatever. And then they were also the same height as another friend that they met up with previously. But that friend insists he's 5'10", despite, like, there's no way, because I'm 5'10", and that other guy was shorter than me, who is the same height as him. And we're all like, "You are coping so hard." Fun times.
Don't they know there is a throne waiting for these short kings?
5'8" is not short.
Here's the
some
thing.
people it probably is.
If I you hit 6 foot, which is the bare minimum height of being like quite tall.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, now I can start talking about short people, which is everyone else.
Anyway.
Last
email.
I wonder who it's from.
Good friend, subjects are... Subject, peak
Hello.
fiction begins, baby.
It seems so.
Oh boy, the time is here. The moment I've been waiting for has arrived. Finally, the time for me to spew verbal diarrhea about one of the best things known to mankind.
I wonder if he likes Leo.
Johnny Mnemonic is a movie I have a strong attachment. Yes, it's not the most revolutionary thing in the world, but wait, we're expecting me to talk about Ultraman Leo? Well, be patient, my children, all in good time. It's definitely not my favorite visual piece based on William Gibson thing. That honor goes to the 1933 short film Tomorrow Calling, which I find explores a more interesting idea and doesn't do it in a way that makes it roll longer than it needs to. But as a piece of wacky 90s dystopian sci-fi that takes more than a little inspiration for previous works, is a good time. For instance, the Super Priest could have been an interesting idea in exploring like the parallel between religion and organized crime syndicates or something. But instead, it's just kind of like, now you get goofiness, which, hey, I can't say it didn't end up being entertaining. Similar ideas could have explored like how the dolphin means the unification of nature and technology that ends up saving the day, but so underdeveloped that you really got scratch to squeeze them out. Essentially, super entertaining, turn your brain off film. The end. Anyway,
yeah. Thank you for telling me about Tomorrow Calling. I will be watching it. That's a Gernsback Continuum thing.
I was about to say I didn't know about.
I should
that.
look into that too.
It is 12 minutes long.
Oh well, there you go. That's easy.
Yeah.
Wait, so it's an adaptation of Gernsback Continuum?
Bill is shooting architectural photographs of
Let's
futuristic
fucking
buildings of the
go!
1930s for a coffee table book commissioned by D'Alta.
Oh shit, let's go.
It's on YouTube too. You can just watch it. Nice.
Oh,
shit.
perfect.
Nice.
Sick.
I know what I'm doing, like, as soon as we're done with this.
I guess we know what we're talking about next week.
Lol.
Anyway, enough side tangenting. Leo. First off, Lamo get fucked by a cliffhanger. Second, what phenomenal start to a phenomenal season of television. Where do you begin? How about that theme song? I'm genuinely so glad you guys liked it. So much it is, as the kids say, the good shit. Running through the list of things I have. Cinematography, exquisite. Acting, raw as fucked. Characters, so good. Music, amazing. Fight scenes, magnificent. I think he likes it, guys.
Yeah.
Dan Moriarty back as a consistent size character, inspired. Tone and pacing, perfect. Stakes, super high. New elements added on to the ongoing lore, magical. I'll refrain from gushing anymore, but suffice to say, it's a pretty damn good start. I'll get to more specifics as we go along the show, because I could go on for hours about how much I adore dear enough everything in the season, despite certain objective wrong things you guys encounter at an undisclosed point in the show, so I need to pace myself. Alright. I only hope you enjoy the start of the show too, because otherwise all the gushing will be real embarrassing if the feelings aren't reciprocated.
Yeah, taking a gamble. We should record a thing about how disappointed we are. I can put it at the start of the episode in front of the.
That'd be so evil.
That would be really no.
They also sent me last week like a song you could use for the outro.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, that's
yeah.
What'd you say?
Oh, were you gonna finish off the email?
No, I was gonna go. What you say?
Oh, I was assuming we were kind of was that email
Yep,
wrapped
that
up?
was
Or
done. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your email. The fights. There's like one shot that I was like one like move that he pulls off in like the fight scene at the end of episode 2, or like from like the middle. Leo launches into the fight in episode 2 and comes to like the slow motion backflips, and then the moment he hits the ground for the last backflip, immediately pops up to do a flying kick on one of the kaiju, and I was like, this man's legs are made of springs. What is this guy on?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Fights absolutely on point this time. We like this show. So far.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's part of the process. But for now.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. That is gonna be our full show.
Is this our longest episode ever?
No, the longest ones are Taro premiere. Specifically because we were gone for a month and just had too much to talk about in the first half.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
This is approaching that length though.
You can follow us online.
You need to get to a computer.
Shut the fuck. You can find us on Twitter and Blue Sky. Are our two. Twitter, we are at ultra_q. That is at ultra_q_UE. It is a pun. On Blue Sky, we are at ultra_QUEUE. No underscores on Blue Sky.
You can follow me at Dear Crowns on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can follow. You can send an email at ultraqpod@gmail.com, and we have a coffee ultraq fund that's presumably towards subtitling things, because it can be pricey. But we'll see. Hopefully, turns out we might need the Ultraman subs at this point. But we'll see.
There's lots of gaps in Ultraman.
Some of them more essential than others. But we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Brad.
Yeah, you can find me everywhere at Invoked. That's BEINVOKED. Streamed a little bit of Street Fighter 6. Might keep doing that the next few days. We'll see. I've been wanting to get back into that game. So I'm on YouTube, Blue Sky, Twitter, BEINVOKED, all one word on Blue Sky, and with the underscore between the E and the I on Twitter.
Nice. All right. Next week, we will be back with 3 more episodes of Ultraman Leo. Leo.
Oh.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Later.
See.